But at least now it can't get much worse.
But it did get worse.
How's it going, guys? It continues to get worse for Pirate Software, as he is now close to losing 250,000 subscribers in, I believe, just 1 month. Yeah, it's like the last 30 days. Holy, this has got to be a record. It happened approximately since June 24th. But yes, how's it going, guys? We are back, and I don't know why Chill Station's saying I'm late. I'm definitely always on time. Also, Nia says, Jason's dad worked for Blizzard. That is big if true, and could be a very interesting development. We'll check on that later on. Be sure to hit the like on this stream. Much appreciated. Now, today I actually had a different plan. There's a channel called Slop News Network, which is hilarious because this is nothing but... These are like in-depth, well thought out, well edited videos, and he has a 3-part series on Pirate Software starting from about 2 weeks ago. He's got part 1, developers examine Pirate Software's job history and development hell. And also there's part 3, Pirate Software claims hacking claims and stories. Now I watched all 3 of these today, but part 2 I found was a little bit dry for me. And I think it's a little bit dry for the stream because it's more about the code. And while I do find the code analysis interesting, I feel like it's a little bit over the average person's head, and there's not too much there. So I think what we'll do is we'll check out these 2 videos, but in non-chronological order. But, while we were playing dinosaur games yesterday, and if you're not a fan of the dinosaur games, I understand, but we have a new dinosaur game. It's like Zoo Tycoon, and it's actually really fun. But we only played it for a little bit before we had to go to bed, because I was very late to go to bed last night. But we'll be playing more of that later in the week, for sure. Anyway, someone mentioned that Pirate was buying subs exposed yesterday. And I was like, what are you talking about? And well, it has come out. The DMs have been leaked because Pirate did the worst thing you could ever do. And that is show your screen on a stream. Now, there is some debate over whether these DMs mean what they think they do. Let's read them, shall we? Let's have a quick read. And there's also this very good video by Quinn Theo, who says Pirate Software just got caught, where he examines it. We might check out some parts of this video, but not all of it. But let's have a look at the DMs. Let's see the accusation. And this is during Pirate Software's Giga live stream. This is the stream that put him on the map and cemented him as the world record holder for subs on Twitch. Kronos says to him, Pirate Software responds, let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it. Bits is rather than tier 3s. This is tier 3 subs. So if you're unaware, on show your DMs, coward. No. Why don't you like the stream, you coward? So tier 3 subs are on Twitch. You can have a $5 membership, a $15 membership, or a $30 membership. I think they can set their own prices, but that's kind of how it works. So this person is talking about whether it's better to donate bits or tier 3 subs to keep the sub train going. Now, a sub train, if you're unaware, a subathon, is basically you start a stream and you say, I'm going to stream for 12 hours. But every donation extends the goal or the duration of the stream by, they can set their own time, but typically 1 sub is 1 minute. So in theory, if people keep donating money, the stream never ends, which can be hell for the streamer, but can be wildly lucrative. And I believe the number that Software got in this subathon was 50,000, and at each sub's about $5 each. There's a Twitch cut, obviously, but essentially $250,000, all-time high until he was beaten by a VTuber. So this is what they're talking about. Pirate Software says tier 3s might be better. Don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? ? Chrono says, I've done 100 tier 1s on my... This guy gave 100 memberships to Pirate? He gifted that many? I'm ready to do 40 tier 3s on an alt. Now that's curious, because Pirate has responded to these allegations. Why would you need to do them on an alt? I mean, if you have as much money as you want, you may as well be allowed to gift as many as you want, right? It's a bit strange. Perhaps they were trying to manufacture some sort of environment or culture where people would be willing to give more. And this is true. When people giving a lot of money on a stream, people feel more engaged and interested in doing it. It's kind of like it's going with the flow, Maybe that's what they're trying to do. But he says he can do 40 on his tier 3 on his ult. Can do bits instead, or both. Did 50k bits at 20 seconds left. Which means that this man sent these monies in just before the stream was about to end to keep it going. And the longer the stream goes, the more money that this person can potentially make. Pirate Software says, okay. What's the ult count? Serendipitous bean, where's the beef? Didn't mention this to the other mods either. Now the challenge is clear. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. Now the queue is a TTS speech queue that Pirate has. Anyway, so there is some questions that have arisen about it. And this is very much a very real screen grab from Pirate's stream. We can even see it here. I believe in the verifying the screenshot is real. You can see it come up on where is it? It's very early in this video, I think. It's like here. I'll just play the beginning so you can see.
50k bits at 20 seconds.
Oh, sorry. I was watching it on 2x schizo mode as per usual.
Left. Pirate says, okay, what is the
We'll
alt
skip past it a
account?
little
Chronos didn't mention this to the mods either. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. We were actually able to receive an archived VOD of this stream. As a matter of fact, if I go ahead and jump over here to 726, we're going to see exactly what I'm talking about.
I wished I could place my head between them and go full burr mode and make...
Okay, so somebody sends in like a weird TTS, so Pirate goes to his Discord to delete it. Now, this is something that Pirate does, is that if you send in a... Well, very interestingly, he has a TTS queue of 420. But basically, when people send in money, they can read their message automatically. But it doesn't read until Pirate is ready for it. He presses a button to go up to the next one in the queue. And if he doesn't get to it, it gets added to his Discord, so you know that either you got read or it didn't get read. And then allegedly, he donates some of the money to charity.
What?
So this is him pulling it up on stream here. And
this is why you never show your Discord on stream. It's always never go to your messages on stream. This is terrible.
I'll just go ahead and let the rest of it play, as you guys will see that this is indeed Pirate Software. The information that I'm going to be presenting to you guys in this video.
All right, so there you go. Now you can see part of it. And like I said, we're going to go back to this video a bit later on. But there's some other stuff I want to see first. The question is, though, is this illegal? Is this a abuse of the Twitch terms of service? And that is very much up for debate. Now, what this person is claiming in their video, which is a very interesting theory, is that Pirate was using his own money to give to this person to go buy bits, then go buy subs, and then give them to Pirate, and then he would pay them back. So there'd be a slight loss of money there, but in the interest of making more money by keeping the subathon going longer and also keeping the hype train going. Now, in Twitch, when you have like a big hype train or something, you unlock emotes and special things for your stream, infinite golden peppies or whatever, like crap like that. So there is incentive to do this. Now, I'm not sure if I have a problem with this, because every time you do this, you're wasting your own money. And I don't think that Twitch has a problem with this either, because Twitch makes 20%. Like some people are saying it's money laundering or something. I don't think so, because I mean, people have actually levied this criticism against, I believe, Aaron Imholte as well, that he's sending himself super chats, which I said was stupid, because YouTube takes like 30%, and very much the same with Twitch. So should they be allowed to do this is a question that some people are asking. And off the top of my head, I don't think it's illegal. And I don't think that Twitch will care too much about it. Some people are definitely arguing with whether it's the case. But I'll leave it up to the chat for now. Pronounced Emotep? What are you talking about? What do you think? Do you think this is illegal? Do you think this is naughty boy behavior? Press 1. If you think it's A-okay to waste your own money to hype yourself up, press 2. I mean, I would never do this because I love my money too much. I don't want to throw away my money for vanity reasons. I just want to keep all of my money. Like Fallen Hero is $3 that they sent a super sticker. And Chill Station who sent a $2 super sticker. Very much appreciated. But we'll go back into this video later on. We'll go back. Good evening. How's it going? Yeah, I think the thing is, I think you're allowed to burn your own money. So I don't think this is illegal. It's certainly loser behavior. It's certainly embarrassing behavior. It's certainly cringe and cope behavior. But I don't think it's illegal to waste your own money on stupid shit. Like, for example, if you went to the anime shop and you bought all the anime figurines And everybody knows that when you buy an anime figure and waifu, they lose half their value after you take them off the lot. You could go back and return the figurines at a lower price, and you get some of your money back. But the anime shop doesn't care because they've already made their money. The reason I'm using anime examples is because while I was walking home today from the shop, I saw someone with one of those pain cars, the cars with the anime thing wrap around it. Like they call them like itasha in Japan, like pain car. I saw one of those earlier today, so I was like thinking about anime. Put the figurine in the jar. That's illegal. That's actually illegal. BobTube says, "Where's the beef? 20 more subs coming. Pay me back, please." We'll see about that. We'll see. The checks in the mail. Send the subs first. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a sub today. How about that? Lie, you bought anime figurine today? No, I didn't. You didn't. From time to time in Japan, when I go past like a prize machine, like the only thing that they have in arcades these days is air hockey and prize grabbers. So sometimes I go play air hockey. But what I'll do is I'll take 100 yen coin. I'll take 100 yen coin and I'll play one prize grabber one time because that's how you beat the machine. And I always lose. So I've never actually won. But there you go. Show us the jar. No, we're not going to see that. Let's go on to the Slop News Network. Now this guy, I don't know why I haven't subscribed to him yet. This guy's amazing. Let's go into Developer Examines Pirate Software Part 3. Then we'll probably check out Part 1. And then we'll check out to see if Pirate Software is a big scammy boy. Oh, by the way, I actually recorded a video today for like the first time ever on this channel because I'm really mad about playing Heartbound. If you're unaware, we played Heartbound, Pirate Software's game, the other day on stream. We had one challenge. Beat the game in 2 hours so we could refund it. Now, the game bamboozled me several times by doing stupid things, which extended the playtime to 2 hours and 30 minutes. So Pirate Software's got my $10. So I am very angrily recorded a video about how much I hate Heartbound and how much of a scam it was. And then I'm going to send an angry message to Steam to demand my $10 back. The question is, will I get it back? We'll have to see. You guys told me? Yeah, it's pretty bad. The funniest thing about Heartbound is it has like a double false ending. So we did the work at Blizzard go fetch breast milk for people segment of the tower. That was all right, whatever. There's some memes in there that belong in a museum. They're fucking old. There's like Dune references when you pick up the label maker. Oh, praise the maker. There's but then we get to the fairyland and we killed all the fairies, which was great. I actually started to enjoy the game there. But then the game just ends. You're like escorting a turtle or something, and the game just like, sorry, we didn't finish the game. Have fun. And then I got mad. But then I went back to the like select world area, and there was like the frozen penguin area, and I was like, oh, okay, I can play the penguin area. That's fine. And guess what? The penguin area was a bait. You load up the penguin area. The load screen takes like 3 minutes, which extends the time into the play so you can't return the game. Then you go up you see the penguins, you open a door, you walk into the door, and then they just say, sorry, there's no game here. No refunds. So like, I'm pretty mad about Heartbound. Very, very frustrated, in fact. Yes, there is indeed Dune references. Did I get it right that time? Are you happy? Are you happy? DJ friends in chat. All right, let's check this out. This is from Schlop Network. I already subscribed to him. Now he's double subscribed. Developer examines Pirate Software Part 3, hacking claims and stories. Now, as we know, Pirate Software has many claims about his illustrious career. Let's examine those tonight.
A bit of a note before we continue, most of Jason's hacking claims are mainly stories, with him being the only source of truth for a lot of them. So for most of this video, I'll just be explaining and teaching about the terms used and how these things generally go, instead of making judgments like the previous two parts. Well, maybe a few.
You guys are going to hear some very fun phrases tonight, such as cave code and polymorphic and other things. It's fun. It's fun. But yeah, Pirate Software's source on all this shit is just trust me, bro. Trust me, bro.
Few minor judgments. Anyways, with that out of the way,
is this true? Can the chat confirm he worked at Blizzard or not?
let's start going through it. Let's start by bringing up the old VX Underground tweet that Jason responded to and recheck his YouTube short on his experience while he was at Blizzard.
I was one of the guys sitting there pulling down every bot that worked for every MMO that we worked on, everything at Blizzard, grabbed every single one of those, pulled it out into assembly, grabbed the code key from it, removed the polymorphic, found a way to fit it into Word. And
okay, so from
it's just such jargon, you know? I remember seeing this short actually, and I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? That just sounds like nonsense. It sounds like one of those stupid made-up explanations on Star Trek or something. And then they use like a little analogy like a balloon filling with too much air.
In this clip, we got a lot of stuff to go over and cover. First, Jason worked on anti-cheat at Blizzard, and he dealt with bots. Plus, he did reverse engineering on the bots too, based on his comments. He also worked with Warden, which was Blizzard's anti-cheating tool that was directly integrated into games like World of Warcraft. The way Warden worked was, while you were playing the game, Warden would be running and using native API function calls from your system to collect data on your computer. This would
literally Blizzard spyware. I remember when this came out, everyone was super fucking mad about Warden because I was a heavy WoW player at this time. Blizzard almost made a bunch of really stupid decisions, but then they made a bunch of really stupid decisions later in the year. At one point, they tried to implement Real ID on everyone's accounts because the Blizzard forums was like a big thing at the time as well. You would just go, there was like the social off-topic forum, and this is back when forums actually existed as a format. Like there's like one or two forums around these days, but barely anything. But they were literally like, "Hey, have you ever posted on the Blizzard forums? Well, we're going to put your real name on your forum posts now. No, not it's all going to be retroactive. Have fun. Hope you didn't say something stupid." Oh man, that was like the biggest controversy of like 15 years ago or something. The Real ID, that was so stupid. Eventually, they went through with Real ID, but only on Blizzard Battle.net. If you've got like Real ID friends, it's so bad. Holy shit, that would have been bad. Every dumb comment you ever made would have just been attached to your real name without retroactively.
Include things such as what programs you had open while playing the game. It would hash the data it collected and periodically would send it up to Blizzard servers, where they would try to determine if you were running any known cheating programs on your system while playing the game. It also has some malware detection built into it too, apparently. It could detect stuff like keyloggers and warn you if your system had been affected. It probably has a lot more functionality and abilities, but we'll need real Blizzard employees to talk about those details. Back to the short comments. Jason also pulled down tons of bots, pulled them all out into assembly, grabbed their code cave, removed the polymorphic, and then fit all this back into Warden somehow. Now, the issue with this clip is, while all these terms make sense on their own kind of, together this ends up sounding like weird nonsense he made up. This is why the VX Underground Twitter account is calling Jason out in the tweet. Also, for anyone that doesn't know what VX Underground is, it's a site that possibly holds the world's largest public collection of malware source code, samples, and papers. This is an incredibly popular site that many real hackers and security researchers use to find, study, and explore viruses. Plus, the people running the Twitter account of VX Underground are almost all going to be people within the field that actually really know their stuff. Now, let's go and explore what the code cave term means from the wiki link Jason has posted as a response. If we look at the opening line on the wiki link, it basically says it refers to a section of unused bytes inside a process memory. So what this means is when we have a program active, we want to check and see if there's basically an empty continuous block of memory within it. If we manage to find an empty section, we can directly modify it with the debugger and add some new instructions to the program's execution. The advantages for this approach
are... it's pretty simple. Like I've been learning a lot about coding recently. It's quite interesting. Obviously, it's like harder than it looks, but it's just like writing shit and stuff. But yeah, it's just an empty place in a system's memory where you can inject something. It's a little code. It's a little cave where you can hide your code so it can go around and do its naughty little things to your system. Makes perfect. Like, we're like, this is like science. Yeah, let's fucking go.
The modifications are quick and easy to include, and you just need the application itself to check for this. None of the original source code is required. The downsides are, in many cases, this will result in a modified executable, which can cause the program to crash or malfunction depending on what was done. And the biggest issue, the amount of empty space you'll have to work with is going to be incredibly limited, meaning how much ad hoc stuff you can add here is going to be extremely small. Normally, you'd never use CodeCave to try and do a complex hack or add program behavior inside it. If you were searching and trying to use a CodeCave, you'd use the CodeCave area to try and find a way to call a separate DLL file where you'd have your actual hack or bot code logic located in for this context. And the CodeCave would just act as the entry point for this DLL injection. Also, let me explain what a dynamic link library or DLL file is too. Just like how you have an executable.
Again, these are all terms that I've heard before, but I've never really heard them explained. So it's actually very, very informative.
That's built with compiled code that your system can run directly. DLL files also include compiled code. The major difference is DLLs are a separate file and they can be used by multiple other applications. For example, the code to create a window on the Windows operating system exists in a DLL file and other programs use it. Another big thing is, like the name implies with dynamic, the code inside a DLL can change and the main program the next time it uses DLL will run that new code. Back to the code cave. I was also curious where the term code cave is normally used, since this is a pretty unusual and not often used hacking term. From what I found, it seems to be incredibly popular within the cheat engine user base circles. For those that don't know what cheat engine is, it's a program that allows you to view an active game's memory and modify the memory values directly. So let's say you were playing a single player offline game and you opened up cheat engine. You could do some simple stuff like find your character's health memory value or level and set them to the max. You could also try.
This is important. This part, I know the beginning part of the video is a little bit dry. It's important that we learn about how hacking works in games that have client-side processing, because too many people, when I play the dinosaur game, accuse me of just being bad at that game, and I don't know about. But the thing is, the problem with my dinosaur game is that it has client-side calculations for a lot of stuff, which means you can change these values. So basically, you can have it like you can have a world being generated on your servers, or you can have like the world being generated on your PC, and then like sending different information between the two to try and keep them synchronized. Okay. Now, if it's client side, that's the worst. That's the worst possible thing for like a multiplayer game or like an MMO, because you can change the values locally, such as the bite strength of a various dinosaur, which then would enable you to go around one-shot killing people, if even if you had full HP. For example, in this hypothetical situation, okay, it sounds like no, it's actually very, very interesting how this works. This is a little bit quick, though. I will turn it down a little bit. Someone's complained it was too fast. All right, I'll put it down. There you go.
Doing the code cave stuff by finding that area of unused memory and try to create a custom hack there. The hack would be fairly limited and simple due to size constraints, though. Think something like a God mode toggle. Now, while Cheat Engine can help you screw around with single-player offline games, it's not exactly a good tool to use with MMOs like World of Warcraft. The reason is, with offline games, all the logic, updates, and variables are only on your system. This is what we call client-side. So if something is modified with Cheat Engine, there shouldn't be any big problems since there's nothing else that needs to verify these values and data besides the game itself on your system. With MMOs and online games, on the other hand, this ends up in general being a very different story. MMOs have both a client side and a server side component to them. What this means is, while the client side can be the game executable, which will be responsible while it's running to handle stuff like drawing and rendering the game itself, the server will be where the actual logic and values are being executed, read, and set to a database. Meaning, if you make changes on your side in this case, then when those values are sent up to the server to update and save, it will more than likely have lots of checks in place to prevent getting bogus values and to stop cheating.
Now, this is only in games that actually have good developers that care about cheating on their systems. Now, if you just don't care about all of this shit and you're a lazy developer that takes like months to upload new dinosaurs, for example, I mean, hypothetically, it's very easy to get away with all of this.
Very basic when dealing with online requests. Pretty much all servers are built with the idea of never trusting anything a client sends to it, meaning all the values that are made up with Cheat Engine and sent should be checked and verified again on the server before proceeding within a well-built server application. So let's say someone tried to go from level 1 to level 99 in World of Warcraft. When the level up event happens and the data is sent to the server will more than likely do something like the following. It will read the current database value that has your level, then it will check your level or the XP amount you currently have and the projected amount you've sent. Then it will probably have some safety and anti-cheating checks. For example, something like if you're leveling up multiple times in one sent data packet to the server, that's a pretty clear sign you're cheating and it could flag you and have you banned at this point. Another example, if you tried sending an insanely high EXP amount that should be impossible to get through legitimate means playing the game, the server might realize you're cheating and ban you, or they might have a safety check and cap the EXP value to something more normal and sane for the game. Regardless of what is actually happening within the server logic and what they have in place, the Cheat Engine approach wouldn't really work in most cases since the modified values aren't being used and saved directly on your system, but on the Blizzard servers, which as a
That's in most cases. Like, it's very rare to have multiplayer games that are at least, very well respected, very big, very, correctly edited games that have this client side nonsense. It does happen a lot in indie games, though, which can be an issue. Now, of course, if it's a single player game or something, that doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter when you cheat on a single player game. Like, who gives a shit? You're just cheating yourself out of the experience. The major problem with online games, and very frustrating for everyone involved, not just the people getting hacked, but the entire economies of these games can be destroyed by these sort of things. Like, if you can just like, to kind of put into scope how much damage these sort of server cheats can, like a client side cheat could affect a game. If you have a game like an MMO where there's an economy, an auction house, if you can cheat and say that you have 10 million gold rather than just the 10 gold, you can buy out everything on the server and just crash the entire economy. And people spend like years in these games. Like, it's a big deal. It's very, very frustrating when someone can get away with these sort of code breaking things. Which is why it's so important. Slug Entertainment says, fact, you can entice a woman with cheese. That is true. A wheel of cheese, in fact, is very effective.
Just Explain will have its own numerous ways of checking and determining if these cheat value changes are actually valid or not. So if Cheat Engine isn't a good option for online games and MMOs, how do people cheat, make hacks, and bots for them then? Well, we're in luck. We don't have to guess or speculate. Since at DEF CON itself, many famous WoW hackers are there as speakers and actually nicely explain all this stuff for us. Notably, a few good talks to check out are DEF CON 19, Hacking MMORPGs for Fun and Profit, DEF CON 15.
When they say for fun and profit, they're not even joking. There are so, like, because one of the things they were talking about was the Warden would also function as a keylogger. That was important because WoW Gold is actually, well, it used to be big business. I don't know about now. But there was all these stories back when I was, a teenager or in university or whatever, about how people were making money hand over fist selling gold, selling fake currency in the online world. This is a real thing. They even have people, like, there is literally Chinese farmers in these games that spend all day in China playing World of Warcraft or Star Wars Galaxies or EverQuest, any of these games at these times, because they have there's this weird way that like the economy works, in that you can kind of establish how much a single piece of gold is worth in the real world. But typically you have to go through third-party websites. But there are literal millionaires living in China that made their entire fortune by running gold farming industries. So one things that people would do when they were hacking is to try and steal your account, because it's much easier to steal someone's account, take all their gold, sell all their shit, and then just leave them destitute in the street in these online worlds. That's a lot easier than going out and doing quests or killing monsters and getting items and selling items. It's just much easier to take someone else's gold, like the real world, okay? This still happened in Diablo 3. Yeah, wasn't there something like that? Blizzard tried to do something weird in Diablo 3, like the real auction house. Like they tried to make it so you could buy actual items with real money. And I kind of thought that might be interesting, because I thought that like, I'll definitely get a bunch of legendary items at day one and I'll just sell them and make a couple $100 or something. But I never found anything valuable, and it just completely tanked the economy. But there's actually a really interesting story you can read about a guy that paid for his house with Star Wars Galaxy money, and he has because he set up a farm, which is like a server farm, not a server farm, but like he set up like a LAN party essentially in China, where people would he would pay them like $1 a day to play video games and farm money for him in Star Wars Galaxy, and then he used that to buy like a literal house, and he made it so that the doorbell plays a Star Wars theme as an homage to all the slave labor he used to literally pay for his house in video games. Very fun story. Very unethical though. But this is very important. Like when they say for fun and profit, this is very true. So there's not just the incentive to ruin other people's fun or have a lot of fun yourself, like you might have in the games that I play now. But there's actually a monetary incentive, which is why it's so important to have such strict controls over these sort of things.
Virtual World Real Hacking, and DEF CON 17 Subverting World of Warcraft. Also, a quick fun fact as part of the DEF CON 19 talk, Michael Donnelly is a co-guest speaker. For anyone who doesn't know who that is, he's the creator and owner of MDY Industries, and by extension the creator of Glider, one of the most famous and successful WoW bots. He was raking
Yeah, so I think if memory serves, Glider was like, yeah, it's a WoW bot. So what this is you would install this on your computer, and it would play the game for you. So basically it would do these very basic commands, and it would just go out into the wilderness and fight monsters all day. So you'd be at work just doing your regular job, and you would come back, and then your WoW character was either leveled up to the level 8 or level 60 or whatever, or you'd have a bunch of fucking gold you could sell for money, or just for your raid consumables. Because if you go into Molten Core, you need like a bunch of fire resist potions or some shit. You don't really need them, but it is what it is. So Glider was a really, really common thing. 100,000 copies sold. This is a cheating program you could get. That guy is probably fucking loaded.
around 4 million at his peak, and then he got sued by Blizzard and was made to pay 6 million in damages.
Well,
Anyways, back
there you go, 6 million in damages, so he probably made at least 6 million.
to the type of hacks, bots, and methods used for WoW. We have a few major types to go over. First, we have the GUI-based macro systems. These are some of the easiest type of bots to make. Basically, you'll have a completely separate program viewing the WoW game window and looking at the various parts of the game screen. Depending on what pixel color your program sees at different spots, different actions will be performed by sending the keystrokes mimicking player behavior to your WoW client. So, for example, if
you see this dragon here, this dragon that's made out of celestial energy, this probably costs $30. And Blizzard is laughing at you all the way to the bank.
were grinding, you might have the bot casting an area effect spell every few seconds, and when your health and mana bars change color, the bot will know to use your potions to keep the character alive to continue making grinding possible. Another popular type of bot design is done through DLL injection. This was a hacking method I mentioned during the code cave explanation. This is another super convenient method and has few benefits. Since it's running with the game itself, it can have access to data structures and other important info from the game directly, allowing these type of bots to be a lot smarter and more sophisticated than the GUI macro ones. Next, we have the debugger-based one.
Exposed. I don't know why you would self-snitch on yourself like this. No, that's a mount from a raid in Mr. Pandaria. Exposed. Exposed. Shame him. Shame him in the chat.
These are less detectable than the other types technically, since with these you'd attach debugger and use breakpoints and remote process memory to control things within the game. Based on most of the talks and stories, this wasn't something that was really done or used, more so a method that existed that some experimented with. Also, a quick aside, back to Jason's grab the code cave comment, this debugger method is technically the closest to his code cave definition, but with the rest of his comments and description, this still doesn't sound quite right in his context. I'll explain more about this at the end. Anyways, back to the bot types. Then we have the client replacement types. These ones are huge amounts of work and generally aren't the first bot type anyone anyone will make. Generally for this type, you already have a successful bot going, and you know how much you can auto farm, sell, and by extension profit off of. So now you'd make a client replacement to maximize the amount of bots you can run on your computers or servers, so you'd be able to maximize your profits. This was an incredibly popular approach in China, since there was a much larger WoW gold buying and selling economy there, whereas outside of China, there was a larger bot buying economy, roughly speaking.
I told you about those Chinese bots, bro. I warned you, dog. We used to like try and find creative ways to kill the Chinese bots. Like we would go out hunting for Chinese people, unironically. It sounds really bad in retrospect, but like they were crashing the economy. So we would like, pull monsters over to them and try and get them to use AoE attacks and things. We would invite them into parties and then like try and get them to, do various stuff. It's like, but there was like these people that were like, "Oh, leave the Chinese bots alone. They're just trying to make a living for their family. They can't afford cabbages." And I was like, "They're ruining the video game." I think that hunting the Chinese bots was based, and I don't regret doing any of that. But then, like, there was literally humanitarian PETA people in World of Warcraft that were just saying, "Leave the Chinese bots alone. They're just trying to afford, I don't know, scorpions to eat. Whatever people in China eat. They really eat scorpions. It's not racist to say that." What is this? I wonder if he likes Coldplay. What is all the Coldplay memes? I don't get it. Like some guy went to a Coldplay contest. I don't understand. Puddingway says, "P.S. Drama." Oh, Pirate Software is so entertaining, guilty pleasure. It is, isn't it? It is, isn't it? Be sure to check out my video tomorrow on Heartbound, or as we're calling it, Shartbound. And Jefferson Post says, "EVE Online had fight macros used to mine ore or flight." You mean like flight macros? EVE Online is another game that Pirate Software was invested in. EVE Online looked like it could be a lot of fun, but you'd have to sell your soul to have any fun whatsoever. But it was always like I got into it. I would never got into it quick enough, so I was like, "Nah, I'm never gonna get it. I'm never gonna get into it." Look up the Astronomer, CEO. Can someone just give me a quick rundown in chat? So there's like a guy that's an astronomer. He spent one day not looking at the stars, and he went to Coldplay contest, and he got caught with someone's wife. That's the extent of it. Okay. I mean, it's bad, but I don't know why everyone's talking about it. Is Astronomer like not an astronomy company? Is it like something else? That's the part of the story I don't get.
For more trivial hacks and simpler bots, there's also the option of using custom-written Lua scripts. WoW includes Lua as their scripting language of choice and exposes various API options to customize certain things about the game, UI being one example. A side effect of having Lua included is a lot of function names will be in plain text and easier to search for, meaning you can try to hijack or use them for hacks purposes. With those bot explanations out of the way, I think it's largely safe to assume the type of bots Jason was dealing with at Blizzard were most likely the DLL injection type, since he was pulling them out into assembly. Plus, the DLL approach was the most common method used by the bot makers during this time period, and we have some confirmation from the DEF CON talks for this too. Now, let's go back to Jason's polymorphic code phrase.
All right, here we
if
go.
we look back at his tweet, we have a big problem here. Jason says polymorphism can be described as polymorphic code. The problem is these are two completely separate concepts and terms. Polymorphism is a program term, and polymorphic code is a virus term. Let's start with the polymorphism explanation first. Let's say we're back in C++ land again, and we have a class called animal, and it has a function called talk. Now let's say we create two other animal classes based on the initial animal class. Let's say we have a dog class with a talk function that says woof, and a cat class with a talk function that says meow. Now,
I'm not sure we want to leave Pirate around any of these animals that can talk. I feel like that would be a mistake. Some of those animals would go missing. Oh, apparently it was an AI company. Well, I guess now we can work on his new AI girlfriend, I guess, if he's single.
Now, let's say we have a list of cats and dogs. What we can do, since both classes are
Pirate Software has a list of cats and dogs.
based on an animal, we can grow through them generically and call talk on each animal type of object in the list. Since each one will have their own unique talk function, the behavior of the program will change depending if the dog is saying woof or the cat is saying meow. Now, one thing to note, polymorphism will change the behavior a function has within the context of the code. It won't change the assembly structure of a program, since both talk functions will be compiled into assembly and be within the executable itself. Now, there is also such a thing as polymorphic code, or more specifically, polymorphic viruses. Basically,
Now, this is actually really interesting because this actually tells you about how various viruses can change their own format so they can be remain either undetectable or be more effective.
Malware can change its own code by using a mutation engine to mutate itself. Basically, each copy of the virus will have its own unique key to decrypt its code payload in slightly different ways to make detection harder. For example, let's use basic math examples to show what I mean. Let's say we want to get the number 4 by using two numbers. We basically have infinite options. We can do 3 plus 1, 2 plus 2, 6 minus 2, 14 minus 10. All of these will result in 4, even if the expressions are different. The end result will be the same. This is basically what's happening with the polymorphic viruses. It's doing the same operations, but with slightly different semantics to make it harder to detect. Now, you might be asking, if the virus is still doing the same thing, why doesn't anti-cheat or antivirus manage to detect it? So I'll give a quick rundown of some simple methods antiviruses and anti-cheat use to detect threats. Most antivirus and anti-cheat tools will check for a few quick and basic things, like the ID or name of an application. Another way these tools will detect malware is they have a huge database worth of assembly and script blocks that are commonly used in malware. So when they're checking over a program and they detect a matching block of code to their database blocks, they can be pretty sure the program is malware. Okay, with all those...
What the fuck is happening? We're getting a coding lesson first, but then we're going to see how it affects pirate software. It's the backstory, okay? This is the vegetables. This is the vegetables. You're about to get the dessert. Just chill out.
Explanations out of the way, let's go through Jason Short again piece by piece now.
I was one of the guys sitting there pulling down every bot that worked for every MMO that we worked on, everything at Blizzard, grabbed every single one of those, pulled it out into assembly.
All right, so he managed to get his hands on the bot programs and was doing reverse engineering and trying to debug them directly in assembly. This makes sense so far, with the most likely bot types being the DLL injection ones again.
Grabbed the code key from it.
And we have a problem. The code key being used inside the bot would not matter at all. A code key's purpose is to inject or call other code inside the program. The bot makers don't need to hack their own bot program to run code. This doesn't make any sense at all. The code...
It's hacking all the way down. The hackers are hacking the hackers. It makes them harder to hack. You have to understand this like I understand this.
Code caves would exist inside the Blizzard game files, not inside the bots. Also, you wouldn't be grabbing a code cave from anything. If you have a debugger open and checking a program in memory, you're already in the area and tooling to look for the code cave. Again, you'd be looking for a small area of unused memory. There's nothing here to grab. He's using the term even in his own statement and context incorrectly. And even if you applied it to the correct contents of the Blizzard game files, it still wouldn't make any sense. So let's drop this and go to the next bit.
Remove the polymorphic.
Okay, let's be charitable and say these bots were all made similar to polymorphic viruses. They weren't, but whatever. If you're studying the bot, you'd probably find the obfuscation and check to see how it's decrypted. You wouldn't be removing the polymorphic in this case. If you're ripping out the assembly instructions from the program, you're basically just left with a copy of the bot program, empty and useless. There's really no situation where you as the researcher and anti-cheat guy would be required to do this. So in all contexts, this doesn't make any sense either. Let's go back and finish up the clip now.
Now, there's actually like a funny part when they go through, like in the previous video. Well, this is 2 videos previously. They go through his entire like LinkedIn history and everything. And it's seeming every day it seems more and more likely that Pirate Software just did nothing at Blizzard and everything he said is made up, which I think is kind of obvious for a lot of people. Like it should be obvious to hit the like button on videos or streams and then say hi in chat because YouTube is suppressing it. No, we're not. This is like the biggest stream of the week. But yeah, it's kind of crazy that just like Pirate kind of got away with all of this and nobody ever checked him. It's just like, I think some people in life are just compulsive liars and they just have to just keep doing it over and over and over and over. And there gets to be a certain point in life where you just get like through a lucky streak where just no one calls you on your shit, or they're just looking for a friend. Like, because that's the problem with a lot of these streamers is that they serve as like a digital friend for people. So like, there's a lot of people like I assume in Pirate Software's community that like, I'm going to go through second puberty and then my 400 live streams is going to go up to 8,000 people. I'm going to be just like Pirate. We're going to be friends. Then we're going to go to the fairy rave together. I've got my first street ready. Oh, look, some people said hi in chat. Look at that. Look at that. Hi in chat. Very good. Very cool.
Found a way to fit it into Warden.
Okay, now how would you fit this into an anti-cheat tool like Warden? Since it works similar to an antivirus, you'd probably want to copy the common code.
Wait, did you actually not know this? So Pirate Software claims that he went through second puberty, and that's why his voice is deeper. This is like basic pirate lore. You should know this already. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Should we start this all again from the very first episode of Pirate?
Block patterns you see in the bot into Warden. You'd also want to add other simple detection methods to Warden, like the name of the program or signatures related to it. You wouldn't need to remove the polymorphic. You just copied over parts of it and saved the instructions into the Warden database. So in the future, you could try and detect some users of this specific bot. If we're being charitable, we could say Jason misspoke multiple times in a row in that sentence, and he wanted to say something like the following. We got our hands on a lot of bot programs, and most of them were of the DLL injection type, with the injection method used being exploiting the Blizzard game files directly. The bot makers were smart and added polymorphic algorithmic payloads to make detection difficult, but we managed to find unique enough patterns to add to Warden to make detection of this bot type possible. Do I think he knew this is what he was trying to say? Well, I think it's pretty clear if you watched my previous videos where I explain how poor his coding abilities are and understanding, or if you watched any of his multiple puzzle game streams where you see him cheating constantly. I think you won't be surprised.
These are actually really entertaining, and he absolutely cheats at video games. So he can, and like, I don't like looking up hints. Who gives a shit? Everybody's looked up a hint for a video game at some point. It takes the fun away from it, but sometimes you get desperate. These are actually really interesting, and there's so many. Like, the entire pirate hate industrial complex is growing at such a rate, it's insane. It's just like these little channels, like this guy like Slop News Network, which is very, like, again, his name is very funny because he's nothing. This is actually like high quality effort posting, and he's just like, he's got like 30,000 subscribers or something. This is great. Like, this is an amazing expose, in depth, great editing. The bar has really been raised for a lot of YouTube videos, which is quite fascinating. But a lot of these are really good, and I've been having a bit of a guilty pleasure watching some of them. But the thing is, that really shocks me about this is Pirate's trying to show himself as somebody that's like this expert code breaker, this expert genius that is able to establish all of these things. But then when I played his game, there's nothing. There's none of this. It's push the logs. Send the stone wall all the way to the left, then turn a switch. There's potentially one puzzle in Pirate's game. There is one puzzle in Pirate's game. And I didn't even attempt it because I found a notepad that says, like, hey, look, if you don't want to attempt it, just type 11111 into the door and it'll work as well. I'm sorry, but if you give the game journalist option in your heckin' hacker game, I'm going to take it just because it's funny. Okay, maybe the puzzle was really clever. I'm never going to know. And I'll never feel the satisfaction of beating that puzzle because you also just said, here's a puzzle you can solve, or you can just type in 1111111. Okay, thank you. I'm not even joking. This really happens. Also, Membs gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much. I love all my members, except a couple of you.
Surprised when I say hell no. And I assume he had no clue what he was trying to say either. What I think is likely, he was just tossing around hacking terms he's probably heard thrown around by the actual devs working on Warden anti-cheat during his time at Blizzard. Moving on to another topic, let's leave the polymorphic and code cave stuff behind us fully, and let's move to another clip everyone has been asking me to review, his next hero Hackerman story of defeating
All right, these are really good. Like, it's kind of funny because Pirate Software tells the kind of stories that Max Murer tells, but Max Murer actually did them, which is really interesting.
Evil rogue hacker using a Stingray.
I turned in a guy to the FBI when I was at DEF CON 24, I think it was. He walked into the...
All right, this story is... I sold this on my stream last night, actually, or like the last time. A Stingray is like a device. It basically is like a mini... It's like a... Oh, hold on. Stingray device. It's like basically it sets itself up as like a basic phone tower tracker. So it's like a man-in-the-middle attack sort of thing. So it pretends to be a cell tower, and then it steals your data or logs your IP and things like that. And then it sends it to the real cell phone data. So everything that passes through it goes through this like device. It's very illegal to own these, as I understand it, and only law enforcement has them. Pirate Software story has so many problems, but let's see what he has to say for it.
The room at the lost room. That was the year that I had the key, and he walked to the room and he's like, "I need to put this device plugged into the wall under there." And I was like, "You ain't doing that, man." And he goes, "Lost said I could." And I was like, "All right, fine, go plug it in." And he plugged it in, put it under the couch. The moment he left the room, I unplugged it, pulled it apart. And it was, you ever heard of a Stingray? So this guy tried to set one of these up in an environment with tens of thousands of people on a little thing about this big in front of me. Yeah, it's great. Really smart.
Yeah.
Why would somebody do this? Like, you have this illegal device. You just walk into a room. You don't go into your own room. You don't find somewhere to hide it. You just walk in front of Pirate Software and you say, "I'm going to plug in this super illegal device. Don't worry about it." I mean, obviously the idea is that the Stingrays are so rare that you wouldn't be able to recognize them as a regular person. But this is such a stupid story for multiple reasons.
Done this in a number of locations. The other 2 devices that he had put out had actually been out and deployed, which was a security risk.
Jesus.
I took the device immediately, dumped all the information off of it. I actually looked at it. It had 4 screws on one side and 3 on the other side, so I knew which side was the access point that he was accessing because he had dropped a screw, which was thankful.
So that's like he unscrewed one side, but he forgot to put the screws back in. So that's the one that's going to be accessed more often. That's how I read it anyway.
Things like this could be trapped. You know, there's all kinds of crazy that people can do. Open it up on the other side, took out the SIM card that was in it, took out the memory card that was in that, popped the memory card in my machine to go look at the logs the guy had through it. And I was like, oh, this is really bad. Took all that, took it to the FBI contact, sat in a room for like 4 hours. They found the guy. He revealed where the other devices were. They arrested him. That was the end of it.
Here's the problem. Pirate Software deleted all the evidence. If this story is true, which I don't think that it is, but hypothetically, he finds a very illegal device. He opens this up just to check that it's a legal device. Then he dumps all the memory. He gets rid of all the evidence. Then he snitches on the guy. The guy is probably out on the street now because of pirates trying to be a hero. This is when you're like, you think you're smart enough to like just stay out of the way. Sometimes you just need to stay out of the way. Just report if it's illegal, report it, and don't try and be like expert lay hero man or whatever. Unbelievable! Like what a stupid story. And furthermore, he didn't even know. Maybe this was an actual police operation, and he just interfered with it. You know. But I assume that none of this happened, so it's fine anyway. Jefferson Z Post with the 2 says, some people see streamers as friends, right, John? Don't know what you mean by that. But some people do indeed see streamers as friends. You can be friends with a streamer, but more often than not, they're probably just trying to use you. Let's be honest about this.
And I think they gave me a challenge coin for that. I think I got an FBI challenge coin for that one.
So Stingray was originally a specific device created by...
Also, like, you think you got a coin for that? I don't know. Like, the FBI gives me a medal. I think I'm going to remember that. I guess it's just another day in the life of pirate software. Legal mindset is my friend. He is my friend. We're not. You know we know each other in real life, right? You know that, right? Just look at my Twitter. Like me, Jeff, and Andrew, all in South Korea. Okay, it's different. Okay.
By the Harris Corporation, which would intercept and eavesdrop on mobile phone traffic and location data. It was essentially a fake mobile tower, acting as an in-between the target mobile phone and the real service provider towers. This is what's considered a man-in-the-middle attack. These devices are in widespread use by law enforcement agencies across various countries, notably the USA, the UK, and Canada.
Let me see. You're not using us, right? No, I mean, I love all of my friends in chat right now, provided they like the stream, of course. No, I love my stream members. Come on now.
These days, though, Stingray has become a generic name to describe these types of mobile phone intercept devices, and not just the original Harris unit. Now, there's a few holes.
Oh yeah, he said Sweetmore. Sweetmore for this guy? You mean legal dick sucker? Where is it? Shit, Brandon.
Legal mindset! Legal mindset! Legal dick sucker is more like it.
There you go. There you go. We played his theme song. You happy now? You happy now?
In Jason's story surrounding this. First of all, he sounds unsure if he won an FBI challenge coin or not, which I think is a pretty big issue. My reason being is he constantly shows off his DEF CON badges and wins. Like going to his Potato Sack Twitter account, his pinned message is DEF CON badge wins. If we go to his main Pirate Software Twitter account, every time he gets criticized or questioned, he pulls out his DEF CON badges and wins. His LinkedIn also has all 3 badges included in his honors. His Reddit intro posts also have his DEF CON badge win. He shows them off multiple times on stream and posts about them multiple times per year. I'm not.
Wait a second. Wait a second. This is Illuminati shit. Although this is pretty cool, honestly. Like the little, like, I don't know, like cyborg Terminator type guy. That's kind of cool, actually. I mean, if I had these shit, I'd be showing it off too. I only have that skull that BP gave me. I show that off sometimes.
I'm not blaming or holding this against him.
Is this you? Yes, this is the Millennium Puzzle. He's the. I don't know if you know this, but he also hacked the Shadow Realm, and he's got all of your life points.
Free to be proud of the stuff you got. The issue I have is if he's willing to showcase his DEF CON badges and wins basically at a minimum of like 4 to 5 times per year, every single year, why has he never shown his FBI challenge coin? I even managed to find him showing off his Blizzard Battle.net coin, but nothing related to the FBI coin. Considering how much he loves to share his achievements in personal life, he would have shared or talked about the Stingray and the FBI challenge coin at some other point besides this one podcast clip. Next issue with the story is there's no other record or people to corroborate the story. I couldn't find any mentions of a widespread mobile attack at DEF CON during any of the years he was present there. Lost, the owner of the room Jason was staying at while this happened, doesn't seem to have posted anything about it either. No other attendees mentioned there being any other Stingray devices noticed either. It's hard to imagine a tech conference with more than thousands of people that are all largely tech literate and knowing to practice device safety, and no one besides Jason noticed someone trying to monitor their phones with the Stingray. It's just
it's a little bit too convenient, and also like I guess you could say the theory was he was trying to Stingray all of the people that are in the HackerCon because they're all like high net worth individuals or something. Surely you would take this Stingray device to like Anime Matsuri or something, like where all the like the people with too much money are going to like buy anime shit and they're all like not tech literate. It seems like a really weird thing. It's like trying to rob like a fort or something. It's like it's a very, very risky proposition.
Hard to believe. I'll cut this part short since beside the clip I couldn't find any other info tied to this. Given how often Jason lies and over-exaggerates different stories, I'm inclined to say he's lying on this one too, since nothing about it seems true and there's absolutely nothing I can find to even suggest it might have happened.
There's a very good comment in chat right now. Wouldn't hackers shield themselves at the HackerCon? They would by using Dragon's Treasure, NordVPN. There's no VPN. It's just T, but you go buy the T using code COPE. This is the level of advertisement I do on this channel. Buy T. You can't use it as a VPN, but maybe you can. I don't know. Ask the T-man about that. Anyway, Base Shaman says Pirate Software can't hack anything. He played Nigerian priests sending phishing mails in Blizzard and a glorified tech bro to government. Yeah, this is actually the reality. Is that he did just all of his leaked hacker man stories are him just trying to fish other Blizzard employees who were probably so sick of drinking breast milk by that time that they would have just given away their passwords because they're hoping they get fired. So he tells the story like he's a hero. He's like, oh, I saved these guys from being fired. Those people are trying to get their golden parachute out of that fucking company. Also, potentially criminal in chat says, you'd go to prison if you tried to use a Stingray. Well, this guy was using 4. How's it going, Sean?
To the next topic, we'll return to his time at Eagle Research Group, or as he referred to it, his government hacking. Now, if we refer back to his LinkedIn, we can see he did the following: penetration testing, working with
penetration testing. Do I say it? This part of it, this part of the LinkedIn might be correct. This part might be correct. Oh my goodness, I hate LinkedIn so much. I hate LinkedIn with a passion. LinkedIn is perhaps the worst website ever. And have you ever seen LinkedIn professionals, like LinkedIn professional influencers? They are the cringest shit you'll ever see. Holy shit. There's a really fantastic Twitter page called LinkedIn Lunatics. And they talk about stuff like, I got married this weekend. Here's what it told me about B2B sales. Or like, I got offered a raise yesterday. I turned it down. If I have enough money in my bank account, then that means I'm not going to grind. And that means I'm not going to be valuable to my company. You get like 700 like other LinkedIn lunatics like liking it. They're the worst. Like, if you thought like Instagram and TikTok were bad, take a look at fucking LinkedIn. That's the like possibly the worst social media website ever. And that's what it is. And there are literally LinkedIn influencers. I'm not joking. It's so dumb.
with sensitive networks and develop custom tools. Now, we have a few clips to check out. First one.
My general wheelhouse control is physical access control systems, so breaking and entering, Wi-Fi related vulnerabilities, web related vulnerabilities, and social engineering. So those were my primaries when we were on those tasks.
Okay, so he did physical access controls, Wi-Fi network checks, and social engineering. Okay, that's slightly different from what he wrote, but that's fine. Let's check the second clip.
So your government is, dude, honestly, working for the government sucks ass. They pay more than God when you're a federal contractor, but holy shit, is it not fun. You ever published a CV? No, not at all, man. Like most pen testing, this is the saddest, shittiest truth. If you are a pen tester or a federal contractor pen tester, you are running scanners and you're bored out of your freaking, like, it is not engaging at all. There's very few times you're like, I get to do something cool today. It's usually like, oh, cool. I'm wearing a suit. I run a shitty scanner. I put together a report. I go home. Yeah.
Do you even own a suit, chat? Maybe this is really prestigious thing. Maybe pirates don't like. Some people don't even own suits.
It's 99% writing reports. It is literally 99% writing. Yeah, it's not fun. I wish it was cool.
Okay, running scans to test for vulnerabilities and then writing reports, again, sounds fine. The only problem I have is every single time I manage to find something about him explaining what kind of hacking he did, he changes his story and the things he was responsible for, but I digress. Anyways, let's talk about physical security hacking and testing.
This is actually a very important detail, actually. Pirate Software is actually changing his stories now. And now he's starting to gaslight people into thinking like, well, I never told that story. What are you talking about? And I was just calling the insurer. I never said I was a developer at Blizzard. I always just said I was the coffee guy. You want breast milk with that?
For a tiny bit. Physical testing is actually pretty straightforward and direct. You're basically going to go around and check every fire exit or entrance or other possible entry point to see if any are open. Are there any points of entry that aren't guarded or locked? In fact, DEF CON has a...
So they literally had Pirate going around to check if the fire escape was open. Hey, buddy, you want to do some physical security testing? Go around back and see if we lock the door. Oh, all right. I get my DEFCON coin for this, right? Oh, yeah, of course, Pirate.
Couple great talks on this exact topic. One of my favorite stories from these talks is how to defeat those glass office double doors you see at most modern office buildings with the little keycard employee scanner. next to it. Now, I'm sure most of you are thinking some advanced hacking techniques are needed, like figuring out how the keycard scanner works, then making a fake card with the right data on it, or something else that's like movie-esque.
All right, what do you think? How do you think you defeat this door, chat? Because this actually very much surprised me. But like, actually, this is kind of funny because I was talking to somebody yesterday, not yesterday, a couple of days ago, and we were talking about hotels. You know how hotels have like the key card, and you have to put the key card in the door, to like turn on the lights or the lights in the room and stuff like that. Like that is that's just the standard, right? I thought it was something to do with the key card, but my friend was just like, you could just stuff cardboard in there, and then the power's on all day in your room because it's just like they just have like a circuit that gets spread apart by. Well, I mean, not all the time. Sometimes there is an actual like IRD reader or whatever, but like usually you could just put like any card in those and that'll work because it's just separating a circuit so that you can use the air conditioner in your room all day, and the hotel has to pay for it. So it's pretty funny. Yeah, just slide a piece of paper in there, like literally, just slide a piece of paper in there. I was like, that's so obvious, but I never would have thought about it because I thought it was just the magic card or something. All right, but here's the answer to this door one. This is actually a very fun one.
But now, you want to know the real way you defeat those door security? You go and buy a cheap $1 spray air freshener or a perfume bottle, and you point it directly at the top of where those doors meet, and you spray a tiny bit. Some office and door combos have a sensor at the top in case of a fire or other type of emergency. So by spraying a thick spray near the sensor will trip up and assume there's a fire and lock itself, letting you open the doors normally without a card, and in many cases, no alarms will go off. So you'd be in the clear to walk in like nothing happened. For network testing...
That's actually really cool, and it's like one of those things that's maybe good to remember, but don't try this at home sort of thing. Now, this doesn't work on every door, obviously, but it's a very, very... It makes sense, right? And like, there's all these like little tricks you can kind of just get away with stuff in life if you know them all. It's kind of fun.
There's too many tools to pick from, so I'll just give one.
I would assume that like more modern doors would also activate the fire alarm, so also be careful about that.
One quick and popular example, namely Nmap, which is a network scanner that can identify hosts, services, open ports on a network, devices, operating systems, and even some vulnerabilities directly. For social engineering, I already discussed this in part 1, but a quick refresher. It's basically pretending you're someone that's an authority or coworker, and you're trying to trick an actual employee with access and credentials to either give you direct access to something or account details which you could later on use yourself. You might also be tasked with sending out internal phishing emails to check to see if the employees at the company you're targeting have enough training and security sense not to fall for obvious traps. And like I mentioned in the last clip, you're not just tasked with doing hacks or scans. A huge part of hacking work is writing detailed reports describing exactly what issues exist and how they will be used to gain access so they can be fixed or addressed in some way. I can believe Jason did all these tasks. Nothing here requires any crazy training or hacking or coding ability. Though his stories about it keep changing, especially after the recent drama started coming out. After it came out, he kept reducing and toning down what he did. When giving answers on the stream, how much was exaggeration, how much was lying, and was actually true, I have no clue. I'm not super inclined to believe his words, but there's at least nothing wrong with any of these statements here. Alright, last topic we have is Jason's famous Mr. Robot claims.
I don't like Mr. Robot because they took some information that they should not have taken.
This is a wild claim. Now, I have not seen Mr. Robot, but I think it's like an engineer and he's like autistic or something. So he's like a robot, and he's like hacker man or engineer man or whatever. But they have a social media account where they post like riddles and things sometimes. But Thor is very upset with Mr. Robot. And this is this is so embarrassing when you actually see how it works out.
A write-up that I did on some puzzles that I solved at DEF CON, and then they put them into an episode of the show, and I found out about it. And the only source for that knowledge was my write-up. Don't do that.
All right, chat. Quick question. Do you think this is going to be the only source for the information? Is Thor's write-up that went super viral of his HackerCon, DEF CON thing, where, mind you, he was always in a team. He never went by himself. It's always like a 10-man team. He's the one doing the security door checks. Like, he's going to see if the door's locked. Let's have a look at it.
Always be bad. Do you want to know what the solution for that was? Do you want to know what one of the solutions for that was? It was the Puzzle Master's personal cell phone number, to which he got thousands of calls. Maybe don't put things in your episode if you don't know what it is. Idiots. All right, so the reason I don't like Mr. Robot. This right here is my write-up for the DEF CON 22 Badge Challenge. Went viral as hell inside of the hacking communities. And now...
All right, so first of all, this is a very dubious claim. It went viral as hell inside the hacking community. That's like a subset of a subset. So, okay.
Now let's go to Mr. Robot's Twitter. Understand that this was the only place in the world that this was listed. Mr. Robot reposted this right here. That's that same string.
Okay, first of all, Jason's write-up wasn't the only place they could have found the puzzle. Popular sites like Wire have it front and center in an article. DEF CON itself still has it available too, and lots of other teams posted about it too. So no, Jason didn't have the only write-up. There were multiple teams at DEF CON that solved the bad challenge, and they all had their own write-ups posted shortly thereafter.
Wait a second. We gotta deal with something in chat. Is it funny that Sean doesn't sub to Meme? No, that's potentially criminal.
Here's a write-up from Elegant, and if we look just a tiny bit below, we can see it also included the pamphlet picture as well, plus the original number series, and the decrypted letters portion. So no, by no definition was Jason's write-up the only one, or even the most viral and popular one. I even went and checked on the Wayback Machine to see how many notes his Tumblr write-up had on August 17th, 2014. This is 5 days after the original publication date. We can see there's 27 notes, not exactly crazy viral or anything. I then went and checked September 13th, 2016. This is 1 day before the Mr. Robot tweet, and at this date he had 150 notes. Not exactly viral or huge reach even after more than 2 years of this.
He got 100 upvotes, okay? 100 upvotes. They're stealing my content. My content's been stolen. How dare you, Mr. Robot, you rat. You stole my 100 upvotes on Reddit. Or whatever this is.
Post being up. Plus, he was posting and sharing his write-up on Twitter and Reddit multiple times during these 2 years. Now, if we check roughly 2 weeks after the Mr. Robot tweet, we can see on September 26, 2016, he has 162 notes, or roughly a 41% increase in notes after he piggybacked on the Mr. Robot tweet to drive traffic to his write-up. Next, let's look a bit closer at the original pamphlet code series. Since we know the puzzle creator is lost, we can cross out his signature at the end. We're left with a series of numbers ranging from 1 up to 25. What's that common thing we're all using to discuss all of this that's roughly 25 letters? I'm sure lots of you have probably guessed it's the English alphabet. We can do a simple number to letter conversion and we can get the following string. Now, let's look at that Mr. Robot tweet again. It's the same thing without the loss handle. This was truly impossible to figure out. My sarcasm aside,
I'm actually like really into this sort of stuff. Like doing cryptography when I was younger was a lot of fun. And I would make my own little like ciphers and codes and languages and things. And I would use them for these little treasure hunts we'd do around the neighborhood. It was very cool. It was very fun. It's like a lost thing that I used to do. And I miss it quite a bit. I wish we could get away with it these days. But nowadays everyone just uses the internet. There's no point in doing it.
this is step 1 of the puzzle, and I mean that step 1 literally. This is part of what Jason is claiming is his unique, only in his write-up knowledge that Mr. Robot stole. He's claiming Mr. Robot stole the puzzle starting line from his write-up. I honestly can't tell if he's being serious with this, or if this is actually just like a decade-long social engineering experiment plus a little trolling mixed in.
Yeah, geocaching
Anyways,
is cool.
let's pull up Elegant's walkthrough for the puzzle and see what they did from here. After they converted the numbers to letters, they did a road 13 on it. Road 13 is a simple letter substitution cipher. Basically, the letters of A to M are moved 13 letters up, and the letters N to Z are moved 13 letters back. Then we get the following string. The parent pages will help you find your calling, but don't be duped. Cut down the woods, baby air dish. Lost. Okay, now there's a few clues in the string, notably parent pages at the start. If we search this up, we'd find the parent numbers Wikipedia page. Thankfully, we don't need to worry about any crazy math stuff, and we just need the function pfn results, which is the row of 3, 0, 2, 3, etc. Next, we need the second part of the string clue, the woods they be air dish. If we search up those words, we'd find the air dish woods numbers Wikipedia page. Again, we don't need to worry about the math behind this, we just need the first few air dish woods numbers, namely 16, 22, 34, 36, 46, and 56. The next part basically relies on a separate pamphlet that has additional numbers. Here's what the original DEF CON 1 looked like. Anyways, we just need to pull these numbers out that are vertical and horizontal. If we look at the number set, we can realize they're hex values and we can convert them to ASCII characters to get the following string. The last step needed to solve this is part of the clue, cut down the woods, they be air dish. So we'll remove those matches, which leaves us with 251, a secret exclamation mark, which was where the Mr. Robot DEF CON 22 Bad Challenge reference stops in the Mr. Robot episode. The Elegant write-up continues for a fair bit more, but let's stop here since this was the end of the context we needed for the Mr. Robot claims. Seeing as we could solve the Mr. Robot tweet challenge using Elegant's write-up, it proves Jason's write-up wasn't the only place that had this knowledge. Now,
there's more to this as well, which makes it even funnier. But the fact that Thor thinks he's the only person that's smart enough to come to this conclusion is a bit of self-snitching.
Now to some other important points, Mr. Robot has consultants with the tech stuff for the show. If we look at who's a consultant for the show, Jeff Moss is a consultant for the show. For those of you who don't know who that is, he's known as Dark Tangent and he's the founder of the DEF CON conference. So let me spell it out for everyone. The guy who founded DEF CON and knows what goes on at DEF CON is a consultant on Mr. Robot and decided to use a puzzle from DEF CON, his own conference, on the show. Anyways, another issue, Jason blamed Mr. Robot for sharing Lost's phone number. First of all, this phone number isn't Lost's actual personal phone number. Lost is the main puzzle creator for DEF CON since like 2022 and an actual hacker plus security engineer. There's no way as part of a simple puzzle he'd be releasing his own personal phone number as the place to call to get a clue for additional steps. Second, Lost was happy and honored that Mr. Robot included his puzzle as part of the show. And if we check Lost's Instagram, we can even see he joined Mr. Robot at some point as an additional creative consultant. So clearly there's no bad blood between Mr. Robot, Lost, and the other DEF CON adjacent people.
So essentially, Pirate's just like, there's no one else that could possibly have known this because I'm only the elite hacker man that has the write-up on whatever version of Tumblr or Reddit that was. And then the answer is actually just simple. The guy that run the show went there, worked for them as a consultant. It's like almost like stolen valor when it comes to pirate. It's like crazy.
Entire beef and issues were Jason's own made-up story. With that, let's wrap this part up. There's probably a lot more hacking stories I didn't find or touch on from Jason, but given how basically none of his stories stand up to scrutiny, it likely doesn't matter too much. Something else to note, ever since the second big wave of drama started, Jason has also gone and started changing his stories and toning down his claims. In fact, in one stream just a few days ago, straight from the horse's mouth, we have this.
What kind of dev work did you do at Blizzard? I didn't do any dev work at Blizzard.
Oh, no.
I've never said that I did.
It's happening.
The internet has done some weird shit where they said like, oh, he said he's a dev for 20 years at Blizzard.
Seeing as how now he admits to
I mean, he did work for Blizzard, though. He was the first second-generation Blizzard employee.
never being a dev and never did dev work at Blizzard, I wonder how long we need to wait for this new confession saying he was never a hacker and we were all lying and putting words in his mouth. Truly insane behavior, dude.
All right. That's the first part. Actually, now we're going to go back to the this is the real first part, but that was like, it's so fascinating just how much lies he gets away with. He can't keep getting away with it, Chad. I'm not going to let him. I'm not going to let him get away with it. His dad is like the thing is like people don't understand when people say like when people say his dad worked at Blizzard, it's not like his dad is just some guy at Blizzard. His dad was one of the first 10 founders of Blizzard and was the director of all the cinematic campaigns. He is literally the fat guy in the South Park episode. They modeled that after his father, and that's actually his father's room. So it's not like saying like my dad works at Microsoft. It's like saying my dad is Bill Gates' brother. That's how like familial the connections were at those sort of times. It's insane. Sean got his membership. Robert Lawrence covering for Sean. I see. Very clever, very clever. Thank you, Robert Lawrence, for 5 members. Much appreciated. All right, now he's allowed in the chat for now. He talks a lot about praying the grey away. But then he decides to stay a grey in my chat. Interesting. Very interesting. Maybe he's trying to tell us something.
All right, so I'm sure many of you have heard of Jason Thors.
Right, be sure to like this video as well. This is the first part from the Slop News Network, which is actually the Excellent News Network. Why am I not? I subscribed like 3 times to this guy. It doesn't say subscribe.
Hall, better known online as Pirate Software, due to all the surrounding drama related to Stop Killing Games. This video isn't about the Stop Killing Games drama. I do support the Stop Killing Games initiative, and anyone in the EU currently watching this should go and sign up to care about game preservation. This video is going to be a review of Jason's job history, game dev industry claims, coding ability, and his Heartbound and Champion of Breakfast DRM solutions by me, a developer. I won't be touching on his hacking skills much in this video, since from what I found, all of his def
Let's skip
on wins where he can't find analyze and nothing relate to hack. Let's start with Jason's LinkedIn job history. So if we look at his LinkedIn, we can see his first recorded job experience is from 2002 to 2009, where he was—
Oh my goodness, this is so cringe. I just noticed this. He doesn't call himself the boss. Jason Hall, he, him. He's captain. He's the captain at Pirate Software. Oh my goodness, it's also tiresome. He's the captain, chat. He's not the leader. He's not the CEO. He's the captain. Yar. Pirate Software, looks inside, pay for software and never own anything.
He was a freelance security researcher and developer. In 2002, Jason would have been 15, and from what I found, he hasn't taken any program classes, so anything he knows at this point is largely self-taught. Another important thing—
that would explain his sloppy code, from what people have been telling me. Apparently there is a bottleneck. His game is so, like, because I said that, like, Pirate Software's code sounds like it's really bad, but if it's functional, I don't care, because I think that's the only thing that matters with code. Now, of course, I'd prefer it to be shorter, if possible, because shorter is better, allegedly. But like, apparently, he's programmed it so poorly that he can't fit any more dialogue into the game. Like, it's bottlenecked himself or something crazy like that.
Jason actually had a job in 2004 that isn't listed here as a quality assurance intern at Blizzard.
I went to Blizzard in 2004, and like, this is kind of my whole career, right? My first job I got through nepotism, 100%. My dad worked at Blizzard for 23 years.
Oh, he said he's worked at every time he says he worked at Blizzard, you have to take a shot. Or like the stream.
He worked at Blizzard for 23 years, so I got a job there in 2004. I was shit. I was shit at this, and I realized I was shit.
Also, I think it's important that we talk about his dad for a second. Jason says his dad just worked at Blizzard, but that's grossly understating his dad's role and history at Blizzard. Jason's dad is Joey Ray Hall, and from a Reddit AMA his dad held, we can see the following. Joey Ray joined Silicon and Synapses in 1991. Now, you might be asking, what's Silicon and Synapses, and what does this have to do with Blizzard in his post? Well, in 1991, Blizzard didn't exist yet. Silicon and Synapses was the original company name, and 1991 was the year it was founded. Joey Ray joined Blizzard before it was Blizzard, and when he joined, there were less than 10 people in total at the company. He wasn't some random Blizzard employee. He was one of the earliest hires at the company. Over his 23 years, he did all sorts of work, and was the one that founded the cinematic team, led the machinima team, the video and post-production team, and the esports live broadcast team. Plus,
the cinematics team is the one consistently good thing about Blizzard. Like, you can argue that all the games gone to shit and everything. The cinematic team were the goats from the beginning to the end. They were amazing. And it's very sad to see what World of Warcraft has become.
being responsible for all the video content for every BlizzCon between 2005 to 2014. Plus, he led the team that made the famous South Park World of Warcraft episode and the inspiration for the He Who Has No Life character, Joey Ray.
Now, apparently this is his actual apartment at the time. So he's literally this guy, the guy that was like, they had to slay with the Sword of the Thousand Truths. How can you slay something that has no life? That's literally modeled after him.
Was the director of cinematics at Blizzard. He wasn't some low-level employee that worked at the company. He was pretty high up in the chain. Anyways, back to Jason.
The next 5 years, I left Blizzard. I did not reapply, and I went and worked on my own. I did freelance.
That's a very big stretch from what I know about Pirate. I believe the next 5 years he spent gooning, making furry costumes, and he didn't even design the costumes, because that's the thing, is that the one thing I can say positively about Heartbound is that the sprite art is very nice. Now, it's not the kind of art that I like, but it's definitely got a level of skill there. He hired a literal miner to develop sexualized furry costumes for Second Life, and then he sold them, and he did some basic programming on them. This is very, very sus.
Freelance for everything. So I actually weren't into Second Life, which is a 3D Worlds game, if you've never played it before. They have a language in it called Linden Scripting Language, and I made games in there. I learned how to do 3D modeling. I learned how to do texture work. I learned how to do scripting. I learned how to engage with people that were playing my games. I learned how to do network model stuff. I learned how to do server-related stuff. I did this for 5 whole years.
So Jason's Second Life period.
I mean, spending 5 years on an MMO sounds about right. So I'll say that part of the story is true.
Of time is a huge rabbit hole, and there's like 5 or 6 different controversies surrounding his time in Second Life. This video isn't about his controversies and allegations, so I'm going to skip over most of it. The only small parts we care about are related to coding. During his Second Life playing time, he played a character known as Moldavia's Fig Tree and started a company called Dark Sphere Creations. He claims he did game program with the Linden scripting language, the programming language of Second Life, and made some small games and some user-generated content for Second Life. While digging into this, I didn't find any proof he coded any games. What Dark Sphere Creations and his company was actually doing at the time was creating not safe for work adult furry avatars and selling them. Basically, his friend Wingless Emote, another Second Life player, would do the art and modeling for the furry avatars, and Jason would do some coding on top.
There is some allegations of like some sus stuff, because this guy was a minor at the time, but it's not confirmed, and there is no way to verify it.
Kind of coding he did on top of these avatars isn't exactly clear. Then they would sell the avatars, and eventually the business was making somewhere around $10,000 a month, primarily due to selling these avatars. There's some
furries have so much fucking money. Like for real. Furries have so much money to spend on their degenerate shit. Every time it's like a programmer, they're just like a furry, like, oh, I got $10,000 for my fursuit this month and next month. Like, unironically, if you want to make a bunch of fucking money, just appeal to furries. A lot of struggling artists do, like, you know how like struggling actors have to do a few favors for directors or something like that, or like they have to, maybe they have to, go talk to Weinstein a bit. Like, that's like the dark secret of the acting industry or the music industry, and that's why if I have any kids, I'll never let them into those industries, because that's one of the most predatory industries in the entire world. But like the thing is, all artists at some point in their career have been like commissioned by, they're like, look, just draw my fursona, inflate it, and I'll give you $500. Nobody pays for commissions like furries do. It's like something crazy about that. Speaking of commissions though, Ray with a 10 says, have you been tracking that Jason has been locking all threads and bailing nearly everyone in the Heartbound Steam forums? That's funny. I'm about to leave my verified purchase review on Heartbound. It's not going to be particularly positive. I'm going to put out my video first, then I'm going to make my refund. Dave, £5 says, self-taught devs aren't necessarily better or worse than devs with qualifications. Being able to actually think is what elevates you as a developer. Yeah, like there's definitely some very good homegrown or like wild-grown developers or content creators or anyone, like in any industry. There's like those geniuses that just come out of nowhere. They love it. They put everything into it, and they're just amazing. But what I care about is results. That's it. That's the only thing that I think really matters. Like, it doesn't matter your training, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter who you are. What are your results? I'm very pragmatic when it comes to this sort of thing. And Stop Email says he worked 7 years at Blizzard, though. Well, he worked at Blizzard twice, I believe. That's what they're saying. He was an intern, Second Life, then Blizzard. I think that's where the story's going in this. But thank you for the tenor. Much appreciated. When it rains, it pours, I guess. Thank you very much, Joe. It's very generous. Big support today in the chat.
Other controversy where it alludes to Jason trying to do dev work on Linden Labs projects and other game worlds, but I can't find any solid proof.
The mana has
Just
been
random
restored.
posts and
The
accusations.
goal was hit.
So in summary, there doesn't seem to be any proof he did any kind of game
Thank you,
development or
chat.
hacking during this period of time. Let's get back to Jason.
Then I came back to Blizzard in 2009 and I applied, not having his help in any way. I got the job.
Okay, the timeline here starts matching up with his LinkedIn. After his little detour with Darksphere Creations and working for himself, Jason now has an actual full-time job at Blizzard in 2009. This is his first official full-time job at Blizzard, and he is once again a quality assurance analyst. Jason claims he got into the company on his own merits this time, but I find that a bit hard to believe at face value. In 2004, he said he was terrible at his QA role, and that's why he quit. I searched to see if he...
Terrible QA people are the kind of people you definitely want to hire again to be in your company. Now Jason says that this is not true, that he didn't get hired by his daddy because his brother applied and his brother didn't get in. Maybe his dad just liked his brother better and he said, like, no, the good brother gets to go into a real job instead of being a Blizzard wage slave. Who can say? He says he worked on StarCraft 2, Wings of Liberty, World of Warcraft, Diablo 3. What did he do though? Accountable for leading teams on time-sensitive hotfixes and service alerts. Gained a massive amount of experience in the inner working. The only massive amount of experience he got was all the fucking hours he spent playing World of Warcraft, leveling up characters for his other buddies. Created defect reports of roughly 700 issues. QA automation. Designed and created automated systems for develop capability and QA teams. I don't believe that. Responsible for all maintenance of systems delivered. Okay, that's a bit of a stretch.
studied anything IT related in high school or in college or during the time gap. And I found this from his subreddit. Jason did spend some time in college studying to be an entomologist with a specialization in ants. He dropped out of college without ever finishing his studies, and it doesn't seem like he ever took any IT related courses during this time here. During that 5-year gap between 2004 and 2009, the only experience he said in the clip from earlier was his Second Life programming, and well, that wasn't exactly quality assurance or hacking or game development work. Plus, while applying in 2009, on his resume, he would probably have had, or Blizzard itself would have had a record he worked there previously as a QA. So that would make applying a second time for a similar position easier. His dad, once again, was a pretty high person in the company, and some people might remember Jason being Joey Ray's son from before. It's not impossible he got in on his own merits, just a bit hard to believe considering he doesn't have experience with any real program languages at this point, and he doesn't have any degrees or certificates.
Now, wait a second. What is this? What is this by D's? By the way, there's a clip of Jason's dad out there stating he should have whipped him more when he was a kid to avoid this BS. It's in his queue. Is this true? Because I know that Jason's dad is a streamer as well. It's not muted. You're lying to me. I don't believe you.
Okay, back to his LinkedIn and his job. So he held the role for 3 years and 2 months, and once again, this was his quality assurance role. One thing Jason often does is he claims all QA are developers. First, as someone that has worked QA myself, this isn't true. I'm not saying QA aren't important, but the majority of QA generally are non-technical, and only a small portion are. And most
there's a very, very funny clip. It's an ancient meme. It's called I Want to Work for Video Games. And it tells you about the soul crushing in like life being a game tester. Let's see. I want to work for video games. Let me see if I can find this. I have a friend that works in video games. This is like a 7-minute clip. I'm not going to watch it, but
I want to work in the video game industry.
But if you watch this, it's very funny, and I definitely recommend it. And it talks about how you have dreams about doing things in working for I want to work for video games. It's like, you know what's going to happen is you're going to end up testing Barbie's Horse Adventure level 2 over and over and over and over, and it's going to destroy your soul, and you're going to hate video games. And then this guy's he just wants to work for video games. But it's a very old and very good clip, and more people need to see it.
Forced to make SpongeBob SquarePants title from an unproven studio. You will be forced to make SpongeBob SquarePants titles. Most small companies don't last long.
I want to work in the video game industry.
I have a friend that's like this. That's all he says. And he literally works as quality insurance for Mahjong games now. So congratulations, you got what you asked for.
Most of the places I worked at, QA generally has no coding ability and are tasked with doing manual regression testing. Basically, they get a series of test cases they need to go through, and each test case has a written out set of instructions they just follow. If something doesn't match the case steps, then a bug is filed and actual developers are tasked with addressing it. So I personally wouldn't call his 3 years at this position game development experience. And if we look at the bullet points he has on his LinkedIn, besides one line, namely the
Wait a second. Saved the company an estimated 31,000 hours over my time working on automation resources. You pulled this number out of your fucking ass.
game development experience. And if we look at the bullet points he has on his LinkedIn, besides one line, namely the design and create an automated system, there's nothing here that even remotely implies he was coding or doing any kind of development. I'm making this point since Jason often claims he was a game developer at Blizzard for 7 years, but his first 3.5 years.
All right, let me see. I've been a dev for 20 years. Blizzard. Oh, there you go. There you go. Jason's already lying. He's already lying about the about what he said about being a developer. Ray says Legal Mindset just posted a video about an hour ago about him possibly facing fraud issues. His former coworker and roomie also dropped tests and images calling out what a person Jason is. Like, I think I have my doubts of it being fraud, but there's a third video we have. Pirate Software just got caught. We'll check that out. The reason I don't think it's fraud is because you're just cycling your money through Twitch. Like, Twitch is making money at the same time. Like, it's kind of like paying for your own promotion. I'm certain that there is an argument for the fraud case, and I'm certain that a competent lawyer could probably make a case for it. But I'm not quite convinced myself. Now, it is cringe and it is a waste of money. But I mean, we can be our own judges when we get to that, right?
Didn't include any developer roles. Also, to address his if QA didn't do their jobs, games wouldn't be released argument, most games have music. If a musician doesn't complete the OST, a game can't be released. Does that mean they're now developers too? Just because you say something confidently in a deep voice doesn't make it true. Moving on to his next role.
Sometimes you can even give your own, like you can give buy yourself subs. What the fuck? I can't actually. wait a minute. Why can't I buy myself? All right, well, I guess I can't. There legit used to be a feature I can buy myself a super sticker, but I can't buy myself a sub apparently. That's weird. I'm confused because you used to be able to buy yourself memberships on YouTube. And in fact, YouTube would give you 5 free memberships to give out every month, but I guess they decided that's gone. I don't know. That's weird. I can't waste my own money because like if I buy a sub, it's just reducing my money by like 30% because YouTube takes a third. Well, not a third, but a 30% of every sub. And they take 50% if you pay on an Apple device, but I don't use Apple devices. So it's literally turning my $5 into like $3. So I don't know why I would do that.
We have quality assurance hacks. Here he mentions he did some forensic analysis and detected threats. Also, something I'd like to note, all of his game projects listed here were coded using primarily the C++ programming language.
Oh, you know why? You know what it is, probably? Unironically, this is going to be funny. I actually tried to buy some gifted subs for Sean the other day, and for some reason, my credit card wouldn't go through. Like, I literally wanted to turn some people away from being gray, but I couldn't. I don't know. It just my security card didn't go through. So I guess my account has maybe been disabled for buying memberships, but I guess I can still buy super stickers. So it doesn't make sense. I don't know. That's actually really curious. I was literally trying to be nice and buy him some gifted subs, but I wouldn't let me. I don't know. I'm broke. No, I'm not broke. I'm not broke. I have no idea what's going on. I have problems though with credit cards because I live in different countries, and then the credit card companies think that I'm stealing from myself because they're like, "Why are you using a credit card in that country?" Renee says, "Buy me, daddy." That's what do you mean? What do you mean? He's poor. Yeah, you caught me. He's destitute.
Which this is a low-level programming language. This will be important a bit later in the video. As for the role,
use your Suica card. You tried to delete that message. I saw it. I don't have a Suica card. I have an Icoca card. Look at this. It's a penguin. It's a penguin. Wait, hold on. It's pretty hard to see because of the light. How do we do this? Anyway, it's an Icoca. It's a penguin. No, wait, no, fuck, it's a platypus. What am I talking about? Icoca is a platypus. Oh my goodness. No, it's an Icoca. It's an Icoca. People in Tokyo use Suica, which means watermelon. People in Kansai use Ikoka, which is like let's go, but it's got a platypus on it. It's cute. You can buy drinks and stuff with it, and also use the train. The Soapland loyalty card, yeah, that's it.
And I wouldn't call this game development experience. This is more related to security work than game development itself. And from the bullet points, it doesn't seem like Jason was doing much.
Is this the Space Yamato? Is that what your profile picture is? Also, Andre's Podlucky with a 200 checker dollars says, credit card denied, suffer. I'm suffering right now. You have no idea. We'll go back. I'm bankrupt. I'm destitute. I'm poor.
Coding
We're going
is
back.
a bit later in the video. As for the role, again, I wouldn't call this game development experience. This is more related to security work than game development itself. And from the bullet points, it doesn't seem like Jason was doing much coding. His next role for 6 months was test engineer. My opinions are pretty much the same as the previous role he held. Moving on, we have the next role as security engineer for 11 months. This one is interesting. Since the bullet points here notes he managed web application security. For those that don't know what web applications are, it means he was working on websites and not games. There's no mention of programming here or what tools and languages he used. But regardless, this is without a doubt a non-game development role and doesn't have any overlap with game development. Okay, next up, he moves to another security engineer role for 3 months. Again, same opinions as his last job. Now, his last role at Blizzard was a red team member. Red team is a common IT term that just means someone inside the company that attempts to hack into their systems, either digital or physical. So Red Hats basically try to make hacks and show how they got access. So these vulnerabilities and issues can be addressed before real hackers can abuse them. Now, while Red Hat is offensive security and hacking, it doesn't always mean you're programming like you see with those green terminals and pics. If we look at the bullet points, Jason...
The thing is, the funny about Pirate Software is he literally makes his coding look like the Matrix because people think it looks really cool. And it does look really cool. I think this guy uses it in his own video, right? Like the green... maybe that was the previous video. The previous video did that, right? There's something so cool about it. Like, I know it's like, it's all like bullshit, but there's something about this that is just so cool. I think everybody loves this aesthetic.
Has listed, we can see he did exploiting physical access controls and social engineering operations. Social engineering is actually one of the most common ways hackers gain access to systems, and it doesn't have to involve any programming at all. Social engineering attacks are something like the following situation. Let's say Jason in this example is a social engineer, and his target is a fellow Blizzard employee with access to the game servers. He could call them or email them from a legitimate Blizzard phone number or email and say he needs their account credentials. Normally, you would never share live in production account credentials, even if someone from your own company. But let's say Jason manages to convince the employee to hand the credentials over. Now Jason has a way to log into the system he shouldn't have access to. This is a social engineering attack. It's not technical hacking like most people think of. It's generally just being convincing enough and getting employees to hand over info or access they shouldn't be giving out. All right.
Now, that's actually surprisingly easy to do. And some people legit just hand over no matter what you say. Like, I have people that email me from a certain country. And they're always like, this has happened a couple times now, but like the first time was very funny. It's like some guy messaged me and he's like, you're going to give me your YouTube channel. This isn't a negotiation. You are going to hand over your YouTube channel to me. You are going to email your password to me. You are going to email your login to me. And you're never going to log into that YouTube channel again. If you don't do this, you're going to end up in the Ganges River by tomorrow. Like, it's like unironically that people think they can get away with this. And I just laugh at them. Sometimes I troll them. Sometimes I just move on. But it's very funny. It's very funny. I mean, people literally do just fall for those Nigerian prince emails. Like, you have to understand that the only reason those go out is because people do fall for them. And you might look at those emails and say, like, well, how would anyone ever fall for these because they've got such bad English in them? But the funny thing about those emails is that they self-select with their poor English. Like when you and I, smart people, like my chat, who's very, very smart and also attractive, when they read an email with it, like a stupid email, they're like, well, there's lots of spelling mistakes in here. This is obviously a scam. I'm not going to do that. So they don't bother with it. Those are the type of people, that hackers are trying to filter out with their bad English, because the person that reads the email and doesn't notice the bad English, that's the person that they want to spend their effort on trying to hack, because that's the kind of person who'll actually fall for it. So it's a very interesting sort of like self-selection for that sort of stuff.
With all of that, and with all those jobs, we have 6 years and 6 months at Blizzard full-time for Jason. And if we include his time as a QA intern in
actually
2004, we basically have his 7 years of experience at Blizzard accounted for. Judging by everything he has written here, it seems as though he's never held an actual game developer position, and he's never done any game development directly. All of his roles at Blizzard were either QA, website security, or social engineering, basically his hacking. It doesn't seem like he's ever touched C++, which is the industry standard language to use when doing game development. But before I finish my thoughts on this, let's check out one more job after Blizzard. After Blizzard, Jason worked at Amazon Games for 8 months as an automation engineer. Again, he wasn't a game developer here. He also didn't include much information under his bullet points. He did documentation of vulnerabilities and did some automation work with Python. This is
those Amazon games are really good. The stories about Pirate leaving Blizzard and going to Amazon are very interesting as well. He would talk about how he was so overworked, but it sounds like he did nothing at Blizzard. The first week, according to Thor, the first week he went to Amazon, he was like, "I'm gonna have to quit. I feel stressed here. I can't work here. I don't know what I'm doing." And then the boss is like, "Look, that's just because you were overworked at Blizzard. Just relax, bro. Take a week off." And then he said, "Yeah, then I went back and it was great." So yeah, they're really overworking him at Blizzard. Getting that coffee. Oi! Double latte over here, Thor. Come on now.
First,
go check the back door.
Recorded line that actually shows he did some programming. Python is what we call a high-level language, meaning the language is designed to be easy for humans to read and understand, as well as to write. Python is a wonderful language, and I'm not throwing any shade at it, but Python is not a language used to create games. Technically, yes, you can code games in Python. Big drawback is it's an incredibly slow language. This is why the industry standard language for game development is C++, a low-level language that allows for incredible performance. The trade-off is it's a significantly more difficult language to work with. The reason I went through his job history so far and his programming language list is because Jason often claims he's a 20-year veteran of the game dev industry, and he was a game developer at Blizzard for 7 years. And he uses these claims to make himself seem like an authority and expert on game development and game-related topics, namely stop killing games. But from the looks of it, and in my opinion, it doesn't seem to me he's ever worked as an actual game developer within the industry, and it doesn't seem like he's ever done much program work in the industry either. I'm not throwing shade at any of the jobs listed here so far. I'm just trying to be absolutely clear that none of this, in my opinion, as someone that has worked on game engines and done game development, none of this counts as game development experience, with a lot of his roles having absolutely nothing to do with game development itself at all. To help make this clear, here's another example to help everyone understand. It's like someone working at a hospital and doing payroll work, but because they're at a hospital, they claim to be a qualified doctor.
Unironically, I used to work at a hospital. But I was doing, I was working in staff training and systems. I was not a medical professional, although I do have a little bit of medical stuff knowledge, but that's for a different reason. But nothing more than basic. I mean, nothing more than slightly above basic first aid. But like, no, it wasn't a nurse. No, it's not true. It's not true. But yeah, it's, I used to work at the neonatal department, actually. It was kind of interesting. But also the psychiatric wards, which was very, very weird. There was a guy, mostly I was doing incident reports. So we would talk about when things go wrong, I would show up and report about it. There was one guy that was, he was in the psychiatric ward and he would love to hide things inside himself. Very disturbing guy. I remember once we arrived and like those bag ties? The bag ties that you give like little Ziploc bags, like the little it's like a piece of metal covered with like a flat plastic. So he arrived once. The plastic was he peeled the plastic back, so he had the long string of metal, and that was missing. And we were like, okay, I'll use Jason as it wasn't his name, it wasn't Jason, but I'll use Jason as the word. It's like, okay, Jason, where have you hid the metal? And he was just smiling and just like, you're going to have to find it. That was a Woe Buddy moment. Holy shit. Kitty got it.
It doesn't make any sense. Jason is making a giant leap with his I'm a game developer for 7 years at Blizzard claims. Anyways, let's go back to his LinkedIn and see what's next. Here we have that he was a cybersecurity specialist at Eagle Research Group. Based on Jason's stories, this should be when and where he was technically working for the government. There isn't a whole lot of information here, and with most of the bullet points being extremely generic. Since he claims this was government-related work, I think it's perfectly reasonable to assume he has NDAs, or he might not be able to give any specifics related to his work here.
And then when I did that, I went to the United States Department of Energy, and I hacked power plants for the federal government.
Jason makes a lot of claims being a hacker and has told a lot of stories, but I could never find anything to back up his hacking claims. So far, the only thing I found was he did do some social engineering attacks at Blizzard. Now, some of you might know about his DEF CON story.
I didn't do any body cavity searches, okay? I didn't do any of that shit.
And his Mr. Robot claims. I'll probably cover those in a separate video. The reason is
he's fat. I didn't realize how chunky this boy was. Holy shit. Is he the bag man? Like everyone else has taken a knee or just like chilling and he's got the bag. Is he the snack boy? Why the fuck is this guy lying down? Is this guy getting ready to get stepped on? Oh no, I have the same shoes as him. Oh my goodness. People in my Discord were telling me that my shoes were like too gay because I bought some Chucks or whatever. And now I'm wearing the same shoes as Pirate Software. But I love how these guys are all coordinating with the khaki shorts. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. Oh no. Imagine the smell. Yeah. Imagine the smell.
his DEF CON wins were done in teams of 10 people, never solo. And for his other hacking claims, there's only stories to go off of. To keep this video from being too long and off topic, I'll save his hacking claims for its own thing. Okay, his next set of experience is at his own company, also named Pirate Software. But before we touch on that, let's talk about his more recent job experience at Off-Brand Games first, since that's a smaller topic to cover.
So Off-Brand Games is what he did with Ludwig, and he said he was being paid $1 to do this, so I assume that he has sort of partial ownership in it. Because you don't work for free in those sort of things. It's just like what CEOs do. They're just like, oh, we're paid $1. I'm no, it's just like tax evasion essentially. And they were also developing a live service game, which is very suspicious considering his vocal outrage at Stop Killing Games. We see Fatty Caddy in the chat. He says, "The Ralph and Mel gonna fill your body cavities, bish. It's not against the law."
Brand Games is a game publishing company founded by Ludwig and Jason. I'm not entirely sure if Jason is a co-founder or not.
I love Ludwig is such a spineless worm. I've heard the best way to describe Ludwig is the kind of guy that gets bitten in a zombie movie and hides the bite. That's the kind of guy he is.
Claims he isn't, but most posts and Ludwig's posts talking about the company seem to imply he is. Whether or not he's a co-founder isn't too important. Jason's role at the company is director of strategy. From Jason's comments on the matter, he basically helps indie game developers negotiate contracts. Again, no direct game development work here. Also, fun fact, the very first game Off-Brand Games was co-publishing was Rivals of Ether 2. A game by the developer's own words was built this time around as a more live service game. Really makes you think why you might not want Stop Killing Games to succeed. Also, don't throw any hate at Rivals of Ether 2. They actually do have an end-of-life plan to keep the game playable and alive for the community after it ends. The same goes for the rest of the off-brand published games. Don't throw them any hate. Okay, we're going to take just one more detour before we get to the Pirate Software company. Let's check out Jason's GitHub and see if there's any code for us to review there. For those of you that don't know what GitHub is, it's basically the site where developers store their code bases and development teams can work together on a code base. And Jason...
It's where you go to steal code from other people, basically.
In this case, his code bases would be tied to his games. Okay, so here's Jason's GitHub account. And he has 0 public projects on his account and 0 activity for the year of 2025. Okay, the no public repos doesn't exactly prove anything, and you don't need to have public repos, but most active developers do have something at least. Also, let me point out, GitHub does have an option of having private repos, which are code bases not viewable by users not part of the team. But GitHub also has the option to show activity on private repos on your profile without leaking any private repo data. Again, this doesn't prove anything, but it's incredibly odd to see a self-proclaimed developer and hacker have 0 public code on his GitHub and 0 activity on his account. Let's try 2024, and there's nothing. Okay, 2023, oh, I see some activity, and it's bug reports. He has made 4 bug reports and some feature requests, 0 coding to review for 2023. Okay, let's try 2022. All right, I see 2 green dots. And again, it's 2 bug reports, no code to check over. All right, 2021, I'm feeling lucky. And
how much do you want to bet he got the bug reports from somebody else and is stealing their work of finding those bugs? He's trying to get those bug bounties. He's bug hunting. He was an entomologist. He was studying them ants.
And there's nothing. Okay, 2020, he's applying to be a part of the live coders list. All right, last year to check, 2019. And his only activity is he joined January 13, 2019. Man, that was disappointing. Over 7 years of having a GitHub account, he seems to have done 0 public coding.
He's only got 200 followers too. That's embarrassing.
grand total of 6 bug reports. Again, this doesn't prove anything too much, but most professional developers and hackers generally have something on their accounts, even if it's just super minor stuff like their settings for their favorite text editor or application. Jason could have a separate personal account where he does all his work, but the entire thing is just incredibly strange and unusual. Just about every tech YouTuber and streamer has a GitHub account with some random projects scattered around. And
does Review Tech USA have a GitHub account? Out of curiosity, anyone in the chat can answer that.
Anyways, finally, with all those positions and GitHub stuff out of the way, let's finally get to Pirate Software, the company, and Jason's actual game development start. Let's take a look at his game dev skills, his game dev execution. With all his bragging, I'm sure this is going to be an incredible story with no issues at all.
All right, first of all, Champions of Breakfast, I got so let down by what I thought this game was. I thought it was like Overcooked or something, but it's essentially like a falling object shooter game. You know, like there's like, you've got the little plane that's flying around. It's so basic. And he talks about Champions of Breakfast like it's such an like amazing game. It's got 130 reviews. Like that's like basically nobody.
All right, so his first game his studio published was a game called Champions of Breakfast. This was a game roughly built in 8 months in the Game Maker engine. This was the first game.
It took him 8 months? Champions of Breakfast looks like the sort of game you do as a group project.
Game that Jason claimed had the...
Why can you get a piece of shit as an achievement? Is this a piece of shit? This is a fucking turd as an achievement. Includes 160 Steam achievements. One of them is an actual fucking turd.
Unpiratable DRM, where basically the game's Steam achievements acted as a save file. I'll touch on all these points again in just a bit, keep them in mind, while I move to his next and only other game, Heartbound. So, Heartbound is the big game Pirate Software...
Hold on a second, before we get to this, because I want to show you Champions of Breakfast, okay? Because I thought you'd be running around making breakfast or like cooking mama or something. I'll show you what Champions of Breakfast actually looks like. All right, this is oops, wrong one, sorry. This is Champions of Breakfast. It's like this. It's literally just like he ripped off some like shooting game where you're like a plane, but you're a toaster firing toast at things instead. This is Champions of Breakfast. Collect the breakfast. You mean just shooting shit? Like when you hear Champions of Breakfast, don't you think like something like you know, something more than this? This is like shovelware slop. I mean, these sort of games are very fun, I will say that. But like I can go to the retro arcade and play the much better versions of these games where you're like a little plane flying through space or whatever. Yeah, I thought there'd be some actual cooking. You know, they say let him cook. Thor should not be allowed to cook. That's what I'm saying.
Is known for, and it has a crazy development history. So, according to the wiki, Heartbound's first build was a
fun little detail here. Recent reviews, overwhelmingly negative, almost 300 reviews. This is about to be 297 with my review now that I've finished the game.
Was known for, and it has a crazy development history. So, according to the wiki, Heartbound's first build was October 7th, 2015. Again, this game was also made in Game Maker. It's a 2D game that's most...
What the fuck is this? What the fuck? Like, holy shit. Like, we played the most recent version of Heartbound, okay? Look at this first build. This is insulting. I didn't think it could get worse, but it got worse. Look at this, the first build of Heartbound. This is like a cutscene in Five Nights at Freddy's. When you're like walking through the fucking, you know, like in Five Nights at Freddy's, you have the dream sequences where you're like playing on like 8-bit aesthetics. This is the first build of Heartbound? Oh no. Oh no. No. The first build of Heartbound dates from October 2015, around the time when Thor first began to work on the project. It's the oldest version of the game, unreleased to the general public. It predates the game's announcement 5 months. The early stage of development was bare bones. There you go.
Mostly story-driven, with extreme similarities to Undertale, and
Why'd
it's supposed to have
this?
5 acts or chapters in total. A Kickstarter for the game was launched on February 24th, 2000.
It's supposed to have 5 chapters? They haven't even finished the first one. There's nothing there.
2017, roughly a year and a half after work originally started on it. The original goal was to have the game finished and released by December 2017, but shortly after the launch, it was claimed the game was to be fully complete and released in early to mid-2018. A few months later, the goal was once again changed and now was targeting early access.
Can we hit the goal, chat, to get Heartbound released by December 2017?
on Steam in December 2018. The game did land on Steam in December of 2018 in early access. This release contained a chapter 1 that was complete with a basically near fully done chapter 2. Gee, I hope this doesn't...
Wait a minute. That means he's done no work. That means that in the last 6 years, if chapter 1, we did chapter 1, and then chapter 2 is incomplete. So he's done no work for the last 7 years. Because that's the experience that I did. How much did I pay for it? $10. I'm going to try and get those $10 back. I'm going to spend $20 getting my $10 back. Holy shit. I didn't realize, like, holy fuck, that's lazy.
Become a trend with delays, failed promises, and shifts in goals. Surely Jason will complete this game in a few more years, right? At the very start of January 2019,
2 more weeks, trust the plan.
They released a patch where in the patch notes it said Animus, the name of chapter 3, was being developed. And this is where everything...
Animus is the furry world. Okay, the tower. I called it the business place, but the tower. The tower is the first place that we played. We finished that. Let's see, quality of life. Floor 2 now clearly explains what you do for your change. Floor 2 now clearly explains where not to whistle. Okay. Reworks. Dark World 101 is no longer a shadow maze. What are you talking? Oh, I see. The shadow maze. Yeah, like we walk around the darkness, like you're like in the Pokemon world before you have Flash. That was a really fun mechanic. What the fuck are you doing, Thor? Like, come on now.
Everything started truly going to hell. Now, we have a few things we should note here. This is technically the 3rd year of development if we're going off the October 2015 first build date. If we compare this to Undertale, Undertale completed development in 2 years, 7 months, with Toby Fox doing most of the development solo, with some help from Tammy Chang on art. Also, let's just take a quick...
Is Undertale good? I know that Undertale's like a cult classic and the Tumblr people love it, but is it actually good? Like, if I play Undertale, will I have a good time?
Quick look at the How Long to Beat site and see how much content Undertale has. Okay, the main story is 7 hours. With side content, it's roughly 11 hours. A completionist run is 20.5 hours. Okay, pretty good and respectable times for an indie game built in 2 years, 7 months. Heartbound, as of 2025, is still in active development. So let's take a look at how much content...
The main story, 2.5 hours, just long enough to get past that refund window. Funny how that works. By the way, there's no running in Undertale, so it forcefully slows you down so that you can't complete the game faster.
Time they have. All right, the main story is 2.5 hours. With side content, it's 3 hours, and a completionist run is 3.5 hours. The Pirate Software team has been working on this game for 10 years, currently more than 3 times as long as the Undertale team, and the Pirate Software team has 1 additional team member. Yeah, just think about that for a moment. Anyways, let's start diving through 2019 and Chapter 3 Animus development. For most of 2019, it seems like there was steady progress on Chapter 3 with various patches over the year, so far saying additional content was added. On October 2019, Jason tweeted that...
Wait, does he count? Wait a second. Wait a second. So I heard there's 5 chapters, right? So I thought they meant like 5 worlds. Like there's the Tower World, the Furry World, and the Penguin World. That's 3. Are they counting the first world, like when you're in this spooky house? And not spooky house, but the house with the ghosts of domestic violence or whatever. Is that a world? And then there's like the old man, creepy, come here, little boy world. Is that another world? So is that the 5 worlds? The house, the puzzle world, then Tower, Animus, and Penguins. That's it? 86% completed the chapter. As of what? This is 6 years ago. This is 6 years ago. The turtle's not finished, bro.
Roughly 86% of Chapter 3 has now been completed. Then 2 years later, Jason tweets that Chapter 3 is now 92% done. So over 2 years,
The game is close to 75% complete. The Penguin world doesn't exist.
Made 8% progress on 1 chapter.
Oh my goodness, I lost 9 months to COVID, but I'm back. Oh my goodness, the Coof. It's the Coof's fault.
20 years of game dev industry experience, people, and 7 years working at Blizzard. Okay, let's rewind and go back to 2020 and see the Twitch statistics and see what was happening. Okay, the start of 2020 up till March seems like a normal stream schedule. Seems like he caught a cold on March 10th. Then after 9 days, he goes to urgent care and is diagnosed with pneumonia and gets a COVID test. Then we move to March 21st and COVID test results come back and it's negative. No COVID, just pneumonia. Wait, never mind. March 24th, Jason goes back to urgent care. Pneumonia was incorrectly diagnosed and he actually has severe bronchitis. All right, March 30th, he's still sick, but once again confirms negative for COVID. This is really important. All right, a few days later, April 10th, and his cold status is defeated and we're good to go. I know I'm being semi-joking in this section, but I generally don't wish Jason any health issues. All right, so then we move on.
Seems like he's just playing World of Warcraft. I was playing through the Shadowlands Alpha yesterday on Steam. Oh, stream. The new player experience is excellent and much better introduction to World of Warcraft than previous iterations. I also found a baby hidden at the top of the tree. Clearly, Tree Baby is the next old god. Wow. Look at all these ants in the chat. So many ants.
On to April 11, 2020, and work on Heartbound has restarted. Work is continuing over the next few days. According to tweets,
I don't like this deer. These like load-bearing fucking thighs that this deer have are well, you just know, chat. You just know. It took nearly 3 weeks, but Fern's minigame and story action is finally finished. 142 lines of code and dialogue and 16 potential pathways. I don't know about all these potential pathways because I just incinerated her. She was having like this cougar was trying to date her or something, and I just chose all the bad options, so she turned to dust. Like every furry deserves to be piles of dust before me.
Most of April was good, so was most of May 2020. We're still working on Heartbound at this point. Again, nearly all of the May prog is on Heartbound. Then we skip all the way over to July 2020, and work on Heartbound is still progressing. Seemed like there's some trouble during September, October, and November, with December being fine, and so is January of 2021 being fine. Then we hit February 2021, and then he tweets out he has had COVID for 9 months since the start of February of 2020. Wait, what? Jason was only sick in March according to his own tweets at that time period. And there's work from February from earlier. And there's proof he worked during April, May, June, July, and August at the very least, judging by his Twitch stats and his Steam announcements and patches for the game. It seems the only major slowdown of streams and work was 3 months of September, October, and November. Where he lost 9 months of time and had to stop development based on his tweets, I have no idea. I mean, it's not like he's going to change his story after this, right? Oh wait, there's this old tweet from November 2020 where Jason says he was recovering for nearly 8 months and couldn't daily stream or work. Let's look at the Twitch stats.
This is just like Zoolander. I think I'm getting the black lung pop. It's not very well ventilated down there. Come here, boy. I should have beat you more so you wouldn't complain and go through this. If that's true, that's very funny if his dad said that.
That's graph again. And his tweets. He couldn't work during this period, but everything he posts during this time says he was working on Heartbound, and his Twitch stats confirm it. So does Steam. I mean, Jason wouldn't lie and change his story and opinions randomly, right? Especially not his loyal viewers and Heartbound fans. Let's skim the graphs and see what else.
Who are these illustrious, loyal Heartbound fans? They just have to know how the dog was eating garbage or something, or how Mama's the ultimate bad guy.
Else we can see. Okay, 2021 minus the months of March, April, May, and June. His streaming is extremely good and consistent, with tons of stream days going past 10 hours and some days hitting 16 hours. 2020, about the same for March, April, May, and June, and September, with the rest of the months being slightly less consistent, but still more consistent than not. Then we get to 2023, and this is incredibly consistent with the stream averages being 6 to 8 hours per day. Let's start diving back into Jason's tweets. So on June 2023, he catches COVID again. Okay, that seems to match up with his Twitch stats graph. Here, there's a clear week gone. Let's see what Jason says in July.
That was a hell of a thing. That's the second time I've gotten COVID. The first time took 9 months to recover. This one took probably about, I think it was in total about 20 days. So
there's no point in time in 2020, 2021, 2022, or 2023 where he lost 9 months consecutively or stopped development for that period of time.
Looks like he had a nice little vacation here, so you can't complain for that.
Also in the clip claimed he got COVID twice in total. So that doesn't explain why there's 4 sections of gaps on development.
It's so funny, like, people get caught in, like, you get so caught or easily lie on the internet. Like, remember when the world prior to the internet, you could just lie about anything? These days, like, every time you say anything, you'll have some guy's been archiving you, or he's in the mentions. He's like, well, actually, you said this. And I do that all the time. Don't get me wrong. I love doing that. It's so much fun. It's so much fun to do that. But, like, you can't get away from it now. Like, the days where you could lie so easily are long gone, I'm afraid. Especially when you're terminally online, like myself and also Pirate Software.
All these gaps are months apart, and he only had COVID twice. Let's skip ahead to June 2024 and see what he says about these 4 years of development.
How long have you been working in this game? Was the coding a solo job? Yeah. Nobody else has touched the code base for Heartbound ever except for me. It's just me. I've been working on it for about 7 years, but I lost 2.5 years to COVID.
Okay, I hope at this point you realize his excuses for not working on
What do you mean I can't work on Heartbound for 3 months? I got COVID for 9 months. Yeah, I lost 2.5 years to COVID. What are you worried about? The game's coming out soon.
Heartbound, and his tweets are filled with complete BS. Once again, he stopped development in 2020, 3 months between September to October, where he had his first COVID period of inactivity. His second COVID was in June 2023. No matter how you try to arrange this and make sense of it, the numbers don't work out. Especially since we can see his 2023, he basically had a perfect stream schedule. And if we look at 2021 and 2022, there were only 2 gaps where he seems to be affected, and they're months apart. Jason basically just decided to quit working on his game sometime during 2020 and has been making random excuses since then on why he hasn't made progress. Chapter 3 Animus, the reason we've been going through this chart started all the way back in January of 2019. If we look at the latest patch in 2025, work on Chapter 3 Animus is still going somehow. We have gone through 6 years of development so far, and Jason hasn't been able to complete 14% of Chapter 3. Seriously, what the hell? Remember, Undertale took 2 years, 7 months to finish the full entire game with 3 times as much content as what Heartbound is currently delivering in 2025.
I don't have a problem with devs taking a long time to put out their games, but when you do like a fundraiser or a Kickstarter and you make a promise, that's when it gets shitty. That's when it becomes a scam. And the real reason that Heartbound isn't finished is because he makes more money doing streams. And he wants to do streams because it's easier to do streams than to do hard work. Because streams give you instant gratification rather than sitting down and maybe being, patted on the back 10 months down the line. That's the real reason. Let me see. What is this? Jason is a child who needed to be spanked a lot. According to Heartbound, he probably did get spanked a lot by his mother, but not his father. That's what I inferred from the game.
10 years of development time under its belt. To put this into even more perspective, let's look at Yandere Dev, a developer
Oh, no, not the Yandere Dev comparison. Not like this.
Notorious for having no clue what he's doing programming-wise, and spends the majority of his day responding to emails and maybe spending a few minutes each day working on his game. He makes more progress and more consistently than Jason does. Seriously, I'm not joking. Here's the updated list for Yandere Dev starting.
It is now possible to sit on the benches in Japanese garden next to the hen mage. Teachers will now ignore trivial things like Yandere-chan crouching if they're doing something important, such as standing guard over a body limb while waiting for the police to arrive. What the fuck is Yandere Dev? You go around murdering other students or some shit? I know that this is like a 4chan thing, right? Yandere Simulator. People go fucking nuts for it because they're all psychopaths. Added an Easter egg game to their vaporware mode.
In 2020, Yandere Dev has made more progress and more consistently at that in that year alone than Jason has in the last 5. We just might be living in a timeline where Yandere Dev finishes his game before Jason does. And yes, I might have gone slightly crazy trying to plot 6 years of Animus development with conflicting tweets and time gaps on the Twitch stats graph.
I mean, that was a really good autism mode, finding Jason, all these.
Let's look at Yandere Dev, a developer. No matter.
This is a work of art. This is amazing. The real question is who's going to finish the game first between Yandere Dev, Pirate Software, and Grums. Or actually, who's going to finish the game the last? That'd be the more interesting one. All right, so now we're going to go back to today's allegations that Pirate Software is paying for his own subs. 86% of you say yes, he is. The question is this wrong? What do you think about this? Is this ethical? It's about ethics in Twitch streaming, okay? Is buying your subs okay? Yes. No. Arrest him. Oh no, I just typed N. I better fix that really quickly. There we go. All right. No one care. Don't care. That'd be a better answer. There we go. We have a lot of options in these polls. I didn't even include results or like the stream, so we're going to be very honest as well. All right. So we went through the introduction. We're going to skip to the screenshot, and we're going to not watch everything, but we're going to see a little bit about this. Right? All right. So we'll start from the screenshot from this guy. This is Quinn Theo. I believe he put out this video yesterday. It's got 700,000 views. Very popular so far. Actually, it looks like he's got a very good, a lot of his videos have a lot of videos, a lot of views. Oh, he has a lot of, he's really farming Pirate Software. Not that there's anything wrong with that. That's the way you should do it. If you find something your audience likes, you should double down on that. All right, let's see.
Were accidentally revealed. Now, this all starts late one night just a few days ago. When
somebody
in my Discord, shout out to CK, ends up sending in a screenshot of this tweet. This tweet comes from Guy, and they say Pirate Software.
All right, so just some guy, well, not just some guy. That's like an actual YouTuber guy, right? Some guy posted that Pirate Software accidentally leaked his DMs, and you can see here, he is saying that they're deciding whether or not to send bits or tier 3 subs. And Pirates are saying Bits is an 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Now, Pirate has come out to say that the reason he said this was because, let me see if I have this loaded up. He says that he gives information on how to buy bits all the time, and it's better to buy them in bulk because you get a bit of a discount. The theory in this video is that Pirate is telling people to buy bits so that they can keep his subtrain going and keep his streamathon going, and then he's going to reimburse them. And they're trying to find the way they can get the smallest hit, because YouTube, or in this case Twitch, always takes a cut.
Accidentally revealed his DMs with Kronos during the April 1st Twitch Giga train, showing that they were boosting it themselves. This is why the stream is unavailable to watch. And here we have this screenshot. I want to make it clear at this point, this is the only thing that we have in regard to this situation. So let's take a look at that screenshot. Now in this screenshot, it is Pirate wearing a banana costume, or excuse me, a long lemon. And he's on
There's always money in the banana stand.
Discord here, and it looks like he must have accidentally pulled up this Discord interaction that he was having with Kronos. That's his lead moderator. Reading off the messages here, the first one from Kronos is, Pirate responds, let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it. Kronos says, Bits rather than tier 3s. Pirate responds, tier 3s might be better, don't know.
Tier 3s, if you're unaware, are like tier 3 Twitch subs. Typically, you only ever hear of tier 3s if there's some OF chick. Like, she's like, pay $100 a month for my tier 3, and I'm going to give you a smooch.
Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? Kronos says, I've done 100 tier 1s on my personal, ready to do 40 tier 3s on an alt.
How come my chat isn't sending me 100 gifted subs, okay? How does Sean do it? How does he keep getting away with it? Sean, Sandwich Man, tell me your secrets. How do I pray the grey away? Do I just not have enough belief in my heart? Do I have to get on my knees and beg? No. I mean, like, when I say get on my knees and beg, I mean like to God, because I'm praying for it, you know? Not like the other thing, okay? Show us your Dyna's
instead,
blade.
or both. And Kronos says, did 50k bits at 20 seconds left? Pirate says, okay, what is the alt account? Kronos replies, serendipitous bean, where's the beef? And then below that, he says, didn't mention this to the mods either. Now the challenge is to clear the queue. So that's a lot to throw at you at once, and we're going to pick it apart as we go over this video. But what is going on here? Now, to preempt this, some people might know that Twitch uses this thing called a hype train. Essentially, the more you get donations or gifts in a short amount of time, it raises the level of this hype train. And when you pass certain benchmarks, people unlock things. For instance, last year on April 1st, back in 2024, Twitch's hype train record smashed again by Pirate Software. And they go into detail about Pirate breaking the Twitch hype train world record, with his channel reaching level 106 on April 1st. Once the hype train was initiated, it took Hall roughly 3 hours to beat his previous level 55 world record from December, with viewers contributing 54,380 gifted subs alongside regular subscriptions. And
so this is like $250,000 minus whatever Twitch cut is.
8.2 million bits, likely earning Hall a healthy 6-figure sum in the process. And he goes into a bit more detail. Hype trains, a feature that Twitch launched in 2020, are a limited time event triggered when a channel receives an uptick in bits or subscriptions, pushing past a streamer designated threshold. And you can see here that the people that were a part of this hype level 100 train were given the Kappa Infinite emote dropping in chat for hype train participants. I wanted to show this because...
Okay, so the Kappa Infinite hype emote is basically like, it's a frog. It's a Pepe meme, right? Like the Kappa, those are all frogs. So they're buying like they're literally spending hundreds of thousands of dollars to unlock rare Pepes. That's how this works. You can actually get rare Pepes in my chat if you join as a member. Look at that. Only the green names can have it. So dirty gray's gonna go away.
It'll be important later, but
train? Oh, sorry. Every time they say train. Yeah, you're right. We ought to train whistle. What is that? Every time you say train. Apparently, BP made me a new train whistle, like a new whistle of something. Well, maybe not a train whistle. He said he made me a new whistle, but he left it at his hotel. So I never got it when he came down to eat pizza.
Is a name of a VTuber who ended up beating that record and getting to a 111 level hype train. And this is what Pirate Software had to say when they found out their record was broken.
So Vital broke the hype train record. Vital's record is now level 111, and that's wild. I think that's freaking incredible, to be honest.
This is before he failed in World of Warcraft. You can see he's still playing World of Warcraft Classic.
With help from
and he's got his bags open. Fuck.
Valorant? I mean, yeah. So during that hype train, they got an extra 19,000 subs from Valorant, which is wild. Like, absolutely wild. So I think they ended up with something like 80,000 subs. Our hype train was 54,000 subs, but you guys had given 8 million bits. And that was kind of the difference between the two. No, there's no cheating. No, don't try to diminish what they did at all. I think Vital is an amazing content creator. I think Neurosom is cool as shit.
So that specific part about cheating, what do you think that Pirate means by that cheating? He said, no, let's not take that away. I don't think there was cheating. Don't diminish that. I would assume that cheating in terms of building up a hype train would maybe be to artificially inflate it yourself by chance, coordinating with a mod of yours, maybe your head mod, to keep a hype train alive. I would say that myself.
Now, counterpoint, people can do things with money. and they can waste their own money on these things. So I'm being a little bit of a devil's advocate, even though I know that it's much more profitable to just shit on pirate. I'm not convinced that this is illegal or immoral yet, but I'm willing for the argument to be opened. Okay, and people don't waste their own money to make themselves look like big boys on Twitch. It doesn't really affect me very much. It is very funny. Don't mind me. I will make fun of him for it. But is it illegal? That remains to be seen. Is it a violation of term of service? Perhaps.
Could be wrong.
But here's the thing about Twitch terms of service. It doesn't matter if you're popular. Which pirate? Well, he was very popular.
Interested to hear what you guys think, but let's continue on. And to make it clear, we're not contesting his 106 level hype train that happened back in April of 2024. I have no reason to believe that there were any shenanigans involved with his 106
for sure.
world record breaking one, as I don't have any evidence of that. And regardless of your understanding of his pattern of behavior, anything like that, I'm not making that allegation myself. I'm not saying anything about that specific achievement. We're talking about this year, April 1st, 2025. Now, I think one of the most important parts about this is validating that this is a real screenshot. And how are we going to do that? Because as it stands right now, Pirate Software had removed the YouTube VOD, and as well as the Twitch VOD ends up deleting itself after 60 days. And I think we hit that threshold. Now, this leak could be the reason that this ended up getting taken down, this VOD, but there's another potential reason as to why, and it actually comes from that head moderator that you saw in the screenshot, Kronos. Now, I had replied to Guy, and I'm actually going to show you two different ones. Guy actually posted this screenshot in a couple of other places. I said, hey, where were you able to find this? Would like to get some more info on this. And then they replied, it's my own screenshot from the stream, ex-subscriber. And so I said, could you send me a screenshot of where that file is in your folder, just so we can see a timestamp of that picture? I know that's weird, but the more info we have, the more we can validate this. And I give my Discord. Well, Kronos replied back.
All right, first of all, don't give your Discord to random people. And Discord is for weirdos only. Also, you can join my Discord if you join as a member. Anyway, but this is the funny thing, is that you have to worry, like, the biggest A-logs are always your greatest fans. That's what happens, is eventually they get pissed off, and they have all the deets, they have all the information, they have all the screen recordings, because they recorded them out of love at first. But now that they have been burned, now that they have been betrayed, now that they have an axe to grind, now they're coming for you, and they have the receipts. Fatty Katie with 2 says, don't care if Pirate spreads his cheeks for the sub train. Well, I mean, that's up to you, right?
And you guys might recognize this phraseology here. You could have asked me about this one had you reached out. Well, I couldn't reach out to Kronos.
I got Lucky Limes is my A-log now. Welcome. As long as you watch the show, it's fine. Just remember to hit the like or dislike. Just you watch. I know. Hey, look. Just don't show people the Garlic Phone episodes, okay? Because I'll never get away with it after that.
He accepted my friend request on Discord, since we don't share a mutual server, which means I can't just message him.
Yeah, it's kind of the illicit.
But he goes on to say, I've spoken about this before, but I guess the truth isn't as compelling. Kronos VII on Discord. VOD was removed to prevent a 2025 repeat of people watching the 2024 video and messaging donators, myself included. Now, I should note that I also said, if you could send me your January comments relating to this, I'd love to have them. Also, sent you a friend request on Discord. That was 12 hours ago. He still has not added me back, still waiting on that response. But I think to remain charitable here, the VOD was removed to prevent a 2025 repeat of people watching the 2024 video and messaging donators. Let's just go with that. Now, Kronos made another reply, and I want to highlight this. He says,
this is an important detail, though, because I didn't actually realize that. But yeah, Kronos is the head modder. He's the head Janny. And this is what you have to, if you want to be a Janny for Pirate Software, you've got to give at least 100 tier 1s and then 40 on an alternative account. Based Shaman with a 10 saying, I've noticed a lot of the Pirate Software Exposed videos are small channels I've never seen. I've been posting for years. And the new YouTube channels have unintentionally destroyed Pirate Software. That's the thing, though. Isn't that a good thing, though? Like, small channels are getting noticed. That's a good thing. I struggle to see the problem here. But I have noticed that a lot of Pirate Software videos specifically are smaller channels, which is interesting. Where were we? Here we are.
I'd said this before. In January, during the WoW drama, people contacted me and others about donating during the Hype Train record in 2024. This year, I did less from my main and did some on an alt. Now, I'll be honest.
What the fuck? So this guy is ashamed. This is like the thing is like, you can be a cuckold, right? But to be the ashamed cuckold is like, I mean, there's no proud cuckolds out there. They all know. He's like, yeah, I have to give pirate money in secret now. Why did you just DM him and ask for his PayPal and send it to him directly?
I'm a bit confused about this message. People contacted me and others about donating during the Hype Train record in 2024. I think he's saying that in the same fashion that they were people harassing donators in the last one back in 2024, he didn't want to have the same issue, so
It's
he
part of the
donated
kick, they
and
want-
wanted to
yeah,
make donations from
maybe.
that alternate account. Now, based on how I'm reading this, and again, I could be wrong, maybe I'm misunderstanding what Kronos said, but he said that he did do 100 tier 1s on his personal. Now, if you have an issue with people harassing you and you end up using an alt, I would figure that you would probably send most of the donations through that alt account, but sending 100 separate tier 1 subs, or maybe they were grouped in 5s, 25, maybe you did it all at once, that's still putting your name up there. That's still going to get people to message you. So, I mean, having the VOD deleted afterwards is going to solve all of it regardless, so you shouldn't have to worry about if you donated it using your personal account. The VODs have been wiped. I just wanted to make sure I went through both of his messages. I'm not trying to cherry pick here, but let's move on to how we were able to confirm that this existed in the first place. Number one,
Why don't
Kronos
they
is
delete all
not...
the VODs then? That's a good point. A lot of Twitch streamers use YouTube as their VOD channel as well because of Twitch removing VODs after a while. I don't have a problem with people removing VODs. There's a lot of reasons you would do so. For advertiser reasons, for cringe reasons, to be change your algorithm reach and things like that. There's all sorts of reasons to do so, but very clearly in this example, it seems like they want to protect their pay pigs, which, I mean, that's another good reason to do it. Honestly, like if you've got these people that are going to give you hundreds of memberships a stream, you want to protect those people. Shame indeed, shame.
Refuting it. But more importantly, number two, we were actually able to receive an archived VOD of this stream. Now I'm about to show you guys an archived VOD of this exact stream where we're able to prove that those leaked DMs showed up in this stream. Now at the time that I first showed this,
the audio balancing on headphone users is just gone into one ear, so that's an interesting thing.
the first time that I had found it in my Discord is that's where it was sent in. I didn't know who had archived this, but I want to give credit to the individual who had this archived VOD, and that is Scorpion from MK on Kiwi Farms. And I want to apologize that I did not know this going into my stream.
The farm wins again. They can't keep getting away with it.
Again, you deserve
The pirate software, like Kiwi Farm thread, is so long, it's hard to read.
full credit for this, and I genuinely really appreciate that you had this VOD. Otherwise, we wouldn't have this solid proof to back up this screenshot that we had found, so thank you. Here it is in all of its glory. It is 11 hours and 59 minutes and 57 seconds. To the best of my knowledge, this stream was 12 hours long. So they usually do that
Too
11 hour
quiet.
50.
I don't know. The guy went quiet for a second. He must have re-recorded something, and it didn't have very good sound balancing. That happens from time to time.
Cut, so we have the entire thing, and it's not super relevant to be missing those last couple of minutes because we have everything we need here. As a matter of fact, if I go ahead and jump over here to 7:26, we're going to see exactly what I'm talking about.
I wished I could place my head between them and go full burr mode and make...
What?
So this is him pulling it up on stream here, and I'll just
Pulling up your Discord on stream. Big mistake. Big fucking mistake.
go ahead and let the rest of it play, as you guys will see that this is indeed pirate software. You can see his messages between Kronos, the ones that we were just showing you, and then you're going to watch him go ahead and delete the text-to-speech that he just heard.
What? What is this? Where is it? I'm gonna find this. I need to find.
Actually, there's an interesting detail here. Is that there's an interesting detail here and a suggestion of guilt, in my opinion. And let me see what you think in the chat. So you see, this is Discord. Like, this is his Discord channel over here, I believe. Like this one here. But he has all these messages. Because he can't find his Discord immediately, he changes from Kronos, who has the exposing DMs with the alleged bad boy behavior. He changes to another message, which is Etamui. And I guess he knows that this is a safe place. Like, he's got to get this off the screen as fast as possible, go to Etamui, and then he can go back to his private Discord server. I would suggest that's what he's doing. If you agree with me, press 1. If you think it's just a coincidence, press 2. But watch it again. Watch it again.
Just heard.
What?
All right.
What is this?
Clicks to Etamui. So then he's gone to just this meme person who's like sharing, or maybe it's a server, I'm not sure. No, it's direct messages.
Where is it?
Then he goes to his Discord.
Message.
Then he goes to
God
his
damn it,
Discord.
Click your garbage machine. What? Who are you? Why are you like this?
All right, let me see what the actual message he's trying to destroy is. I see a really nice pair of tits a few days ago. They look perfect, so soft and so beautiful. Such nice shape. They bounce. When they moved. I wished I could place my face between them and go full brrr, brrr, brrr mode and make them sing. But I knew I shouldn't. I have to let go. After all, the birds aren't meant to be caged. Remember, everyone, wildlife aren't pets and aren't meant to be. That's a weirdo. That's a weird one.
Number 420. Deleted. Jesus Christ.
Now, number one, as far as I'm concerned, I think that's aptly proving that, yes, this is indeed pirate software. He's going through, he deleted the text to speech. You heard him talking about it, and he had the authority to delete that message. Now, the other thing I found interesting about this little chain of events here is that he quickly switches to a different DM after he realizes that this is on screen. And that happens before
Yeah, I agree. I noticed that as well.
Goes to his Discord. And he looks a bit panicked, but that, again, I'm speculating here, right?
What? What is...
Hey, look, sometimes you bring up your Amazon cart and, you know, only 5 left or something, okay? Like, these things happen. Like, mistakes happen. I think that we should be more forgiving of streamers even. Maybe they deserve extra allowances when they make funny mistakes. Even though they're quite happy to go online and make fun of other people. Maybe we should be more generous to them when we make fun of them.
This... Where
he jumps over to this one first to clear so you guys can't see what he's saying to Kronos, and that's when he starts looking for his server.
Is it? I'm gonna find this. I need to find your message. God damn it, click.
So now that we've confirmed that this really does exist, it existed on that VOD, let's take a look at that screenshot again. So this specific bit up here, let me know if you do. Bits is going to be the best way to do it due to the return if you need to save it.
This is true.
Bits rather than tier 3s. Tier 3s might be better, don't know. Bits is 82% return when you buy them in bulk. Have you bought any yet? And my leading theory here, specifically with that 82% number that Thor is throwing out, has to do with the conversion rate when you get bits into a Twitch stream. Now, as you can see here, when your viewers perform and confirm an action that requires bits within the extension on your channel page, you'll earn 80% of 1 US cent per bit used, and the remaining 20% is shared with the extension developer. So here's that 80%, but let's do a little bit of that math. So taking a look here, I just took a screenshot. I went into a Twitch stream, went to the bits, and you can actually get a 12% discount at 25,000 bits. So that puts you at a $308 price tag.
But this guy bought like 50,000 bits, so he's giving him $600, just for context.
Make this a bit easier to understand. One of my buddies here actually created this here, so special thanks to them, but we're showing that 82%. So bit is 82% when you buy them in bulk. What he means is if you spend $308 to buy 25,000 bits, donate them, the streamer gets $250. And then of course, Twitch takes its fee, that 20% being $58, which means that $250 is the money going out, like to the streamer, and $308 is the money that you put into the system to give that $250 to the streamer. So that's how you end up getting a return on your money of 81.1.6. Now there is that 0.84%, discrepancy between this 81% and 82% the pirate's referencing, but I think that that is a safe enough margin of error when we're talking about this. But all of that math is to show that this 82% return when you buy them in bulk is referencing that they are receiving 82% of the funds that are used in these donations, meaning that 82% is going to pirate software, which would then in turn, and I think the only reason pirate software is talking about this return is because that money would be going back to Kronos. So not only would he be able to donate to this hype train,
Kind of like, have you bought them yet? It's kind of like, seems like a little bit pernicious, but I mean, that's just my my read of it. Fatty Catty is apparently a booed lover. That was fine until wildlife. Ooh.
Talking about this return is because that money would be going back to
Kronos. Making a bird
so not
joke.
only would he be able to donate to this hype train and help it out, which he literally admits to, as we see in these messages here. Right down here, he says, did 50K bits at 20 seconds left. But
yeah, so if again, for context, if the timer runs out, the stream ends, and there's no more potential to get the train going. It just, like, that's how subathons work. So the stream was 20 seconds from ending, and this guy donated money to keep it going so that people could get their wallets refreshed or go raid dad because mum's ones are already out. That's how this works.
We're also trying to save as much overhead as possible and get it back to Kronos without bleeding as much money. Now, I'm sure there's a potential for another reason for them to have been talking in this way. That is my best guess based on the information.
Wait a second. Since when does Twitch take a cut on bits? Are you serious? Platforms always take a cut. Forever. Maybe they said there'd be a less of a cut, but they always take a cut. They've always taken a cut. Maybe it's smaller than gifted memberships or something, but always, right?
That I was able to pull about the bits, percentage of what goes to the creator, what ends up going to Twitch. Interested to hear what you guys think if anyone understands these systems a bit better. Now, another wrench in this point is the fact that Kronos lives in the UK, so we don't know for sure if he's using that or, the currency where he lives, and that could play a factor.
Like the thing with bits is really smart. Okay, bits are exactly the same as buying a gift card. So you buy a gift card or you buy bits. The company already has your money. At this point, it doesn't matter whether you purchase something or not, although they would prefer it if you didn't purchase something. Because the majority of people that get gift cards, they never spend the full balance, or they don't, they only spend half of it, or they lose it in a dresser or something. Bits maybe are different because you actually, if you're going on Twitch every day, you can kind of throw them here and there, whatever. So as soon as you make the purchase, Twitch already has the money. Whether you redeem them or not is interesting. But If you don't spend your bits, Twitch literally wins just all your money.
Since the price of bits is different based on where you're from. Now we're about to get into where this could potentially break terms of service with Twitch and some of that potential.
Okay, this is interesting. Okay. Oops, did my camera just go off? Yeah. All right, we'll just turn off the camera for now. All right, it's face unreveal mode. You unlocked it, chat. Now this would be interesting because in some instances there are grey market resellers for things, such as on Steam you can buy games from countries like third world countries that don't have as much money. Brazil. I don't know if it's Brazil. I'm just making up names. Okay, but you can buy them from grey market companies like G2A Games or something, and then get massive discounts because people just buy keys from different countries. So that's interesting. If that's true, then that potentially is fraud. That's an interesting question. I'm curious about this.
Legal aspect to this, but first I want to go over that alt account that Kronos is referencing. Now this is that serendipitous bean account. It does exist on Twitch. Moreover, if we go over and look at the overview for this profile, and that's
hold on a second. What is this guy's ad? What is this guy's ads? Let's have a look at let's watch the watches. He subscribed to Asmongold. I don't know who that is. Rocket League? Oh, he's a Zoomer. He's a Zoomer. Okay.
Bean account. It does exist on Twitch. Moreover, if we go,
what is this? Bone on bone? The knee sleeve will transform your knees back. Why is this guy getting knee pad ads? Oh no.
Go over and look at the overview for this profile, and that's over here on Twitch Tracker. We can see that the account was created April 1st of 2025, which would line up with the timeline of having this alt account created on the same day that this stream was recorded. And then going back here, we can see Kronos referencing what his alt account name is and saying, where's the beef? Now, this is important. As a matter of fact, still in Pirates Discord, there are these answered TTS from 3 months ago, which lines up with that time frame. And here we can see, probably the one that I'm specifically referring to here is my favorite ferret is beef, because where's the beef? So I think it's pretty safe to say we can tell that this is Kronos, since he literally said verbatim, where's the beef in the Discord messages between him and Pirate. So we know for a fact that Pirate has seen, can confirm, and knows that Serendipitous Bean is Kronos' alt account. Not only that, but we have something super cringe. So that was the first Twitch text-to-speech, and we can actually kind of attribute that maybe Pirate didn't know that that was the alt at the time that that text-to-speech went out. But we do know for a fact that the second text-to-speech that was sent out by Serendipitous Bean, Pirate knew full well that it was Kronos. That's going to make the second clip I'm about to play you that much more painful to watch. So here's that where's the beef text-to-speech here.
Serendipitous Bean with 25,000 bits said my favorite ferret is beef because WHERES the beef.
So that was the first one.
Okay, so that's a what, $200? No, wait, $300 message that he just played?
Sent from Kronos, and this is the second one.
Serendipitous Bean with 50,000 bits said IRL friend of Kronos and excited that they are now free from corporate.
I know.
Love your stream and what you do for people here. There aren't many cool or supportive streamers left once they get big like this. Stay cool, bud, and tell Kronos that Ben sends their regards.
I'm sorry you had to know Kronos in real life.
Wait, so he's literally using his alt account to send money and then talk to himself? If this isn't illegal, it should be, because it's super cringe. Holy shit.
With 500 bits said when is Yar pregnant man going to be real?
He had to do a little glazing.
Also, as my understanding is that the mods for Pirate Software are paid mods. So they're kind of like spending money with the company tickets. It's kind of funny.
For his boss, but oh my god, that was painful, knowing now that that is actually Kronos. But now lastly, over here at the bottom, didn't mention this to the mods either, so this wasn't, planned amongst all the other mods, but then right below that says, now the challenge is to clear the queue. Now what's this clearing the queue? Well, there's actually an answer, and this is in the form of one of Pirate Software's shorts.
What's the TTS queue and wait time? So every time somebody donates to do a TTS, I actually have a system, and you can see it goes into this queue. Every time I hit this button, like this, it eats
Amphcheer 500 loving war within so far as a warlock.
Yeah. Your message then goes into Discord. It actually has a timestamp here to show where that's going on, so you can click on it, and it works, right? And then if I don't get to your message by the end of the stream, it goes into debt. And right now, we've given $56,805 to charity since November of last year, because if I don't answer your message, I don't deserve the money, so we pay it to charity.
So I think that's all that you specifically need.
I will say that's kind of a cool system. Like, the way they set that up is very interesting and kind of neat. Just the way it gets put into this big backlog, and you can find where your message is during the stream. Because a lot of people on these massive streams, they're very sad if they don't get their thing read. Now, I will say that system, while it is very interesting, it makes it very easy to A-log him by reviewing all the old messages. You can just search for them. And since Discord leaks always happen, it's potentially a big liability waiting to happen, which I guess this is what's happening right now. Internet Guy with 2 says, this is meme Copium's alt driving engagement. Yeah, you got me. But I'm not even allowed to send memberships. See? They won't even let me send memberships from my main account, so I have to use an alt account.
Need to know. Now we understand that every TTS that doesn't get cleared through the queue, meaning Pirate ends up playing it for the stream.
I bet he takes tax deductions from the donation. If that were true, then that would be tax fraud. So that's an interesting idea. Not sure about it, but interesting thought.
That ends up all getting donated to charity. And it seems like Kronos is well aware of that fact. And so
But the charity absolutely is a tax deductible.
So now the challenge being to clear the queue means that they want to make sure that they get through everything so that none of it gets donated to charity. Now that could be nefarious, but also at the same time, I think the goal is that he does want to read through them all because he wants to, appreciate the people that have been sending the money to him. Matter of fact, I'm pretty sure their goal is to get through every single one of those text-to-speeches, and inevitably, they will end up donating some to charity because they might not be able to get through all of them in a single stream. And it ends up being that—
All right, Big Chungus, this is interesting. Gave me a thought. Why donate it to charity if he isn't getting a tax donation? Here's the real grift. He has a charity. He runs a charity. When he says giving money to charity, is he talking about himself? Interesting. Sean says, you probably haven't had your second puberty. Oh, that's where you're wrong, Sean. I'm having my second puberty right now on the easy listening early morning stream. We're on third or fourth charity now. I mean, puberty.
That if they don't read it, ends up going to charity. So I don't really see an issue per se with that. Some people could take it that way. I don't think I necessarily need to make that argument because I think there's a reasonable understanding that, of course, the goal is—
Wait, hold on a second. Fran, are you okay, Fran? I'm coming, Fran. I'll just wait. I'm coming. That's a good reference. A good reference. Black Books, yeah.
Is to clear the queue every time. And it's not just because it's all going into their pockets, although that's the main reason, but they do also just want to respect the viewers that have sent their money in. But now let's talk about that Twitch terms of service and if this is breaching that terms of service. Now this hinges on the hypothesis that Kronos is getting paid back by Pirate through these bit donations that he did. And he did—
All right, well, first of all, let's just make this clear. The Twitch terms of service do not matter. Okay? The rules are made up and they don't apply to you. Well, I mean, the rules apply to you, but not to people that actually Twitch cares about. So it's an interesting argument, but let's take a quick look. But maybe I'm not sure. Like the Twitch terms of service, like Twitch, everyone knows that Twitch's term of service is like they make it up as they go.
75,000 bits in total, so $750. Now, of course, there was a little bit less due to that 12% discount, but that's the ballpark here. And again, reached out to see if someone from Twitch can actually better clarify if any terms of service were broken. So at this moment, this is all just speculation, and I don't have any other confirmation. Now, what I'm showing you guys here is from Twitch's legal Bits Acceptable Use Policy. Now, I'm just going to read the title of this area that I'm going to be reading from. Bits cannot be directly exchanged for items or services of value. Now, that specifically directly exchanged is a bit, convoluted here since it's going directly to the stream, but then supposedly, potentially, Kronos will be getting paid back. The front line reads, don't engage in an exchange of bits for items or services that typically are associated with a cost or value. Communities can gather to achieve a goal that unlocks a benefit or experience for the community, explained further below. Creators can announce benefits in response to individual cheers. However, in each of those scenarios, the activity does not provide a return of anything of value. And down here explicitly, it says, now the don'ts that constitute violations of this policy. Don't solicit bits in exchange for money or donations, and don't request money or donations for bits. Now, this doesn't work because Pirate is not saying, hey, we're, giving you guys money if you give me bits. And it's also not Kronos requesting money for those donations. But if we come down here, we can see this specific point here: selling, offering to sell, trading, bartering, or transferring bits to other users of Twitch in exchange for real or virtual currencies. Now this, we could make the argument that the selling, or I should say offering to sell or transferring bits to other users of Twitch in exchange for real currency would be the equivalent of Kronos donating those bits to Pirate's stream, knowing that he's getting this, as we, talked about, that 82.
Hold on a second. My screen literally just I couldn't pause it or anything. I was trying to like the video. What's going on here? This guy's just taken over my stream. Like, what the fuck is going on here? I'm gonna hit refresh on this. My tab must have broken or something. The thing is, that's interesting, is that the detail that isn't really, I think, mentioned in this it is mentioned a little bit. Holy shit, is this just breaking? All right, let's try reopening, close tab. There we go. Maybe this will work now. Maybe my internet's... All right, there we go. Now it's working. Now I can like the video.
Bits to other...
Because Pirate literally pays these people. So he pays them like this is their job. This is their job. Pirate pays them, then they pay their money back to him in this Twitch like grift circle. That's kind of interesting. That's kind of weird. Again, I don't know if that's a violation in terms of service. I wouldn't think so, because like I said, you can waste your money. You can, if you want to give your boss money, I suppose you can. It's very cringe, but like I said, I don't see a legal problem here, honestly.
other users of Twitch in exchange for real or virtual currencies. Now this, we could make the argument that the selling, or I should say offering to sell or transferring bits to other users of Twitch in exchange for real currency would be the equivalent of Kronos donating those bits to Pirate's stream, knowing that he's getting this, as we talked about, that 82% return. Or I should say that that 82% return is going to Pirate. That assumption being that this return of 82% is for Pirate so that he can get it back to him and lower their overhead costs. Now again, there is nothing directly stating outright you cannot, as like a moderator or an employee for a streamer, donate bits to get that money back afterwards. There's no specific ruling on that, or not at least that I've seen from the research that I've put together, or that any research with people that I have worked with making this video have found themselves. Now, other examples of this Twitch terms of service potentially being broken here has to come from spam, scams, and other malicious conduct. And
Well, this is what I said. This is what I was saying. They're using the company money, company store. Yeah. Like, don't get me wrong. It's super cringe and embarrassing, and I guess it's just true because it's just been proven. But I mean, you're allowed to be cringe. As much as I like hating on Pirate, I feel like this is just a case of him having some super simps. Has he been paying them to buy money for him? Maybe, but it's kind of like self-advertising. Like you can pay for your own advertisement. It's a very interesting way of marketing, but while cringe, I'm not sure if it's violation of anything.
Below, and for example, you may not. It
Oh,
includes
never
this
mind.
part
Being
here
cringe is illegal
about
now.
engage in viewership tampering, such as artificially inflating follow or live viewer stats. Now, my expert armchair analysis, I would look at that and go, okay, well, they were seemingly based off of Kronos direct.
Now, here's the problem you have, Sean. The TOS violation is that fake donations were being used to keep the stream going. They're not fake donations. They're real donations. Twitch is making money from the donations. If, like, you understand this, right? Twitch still gets the money. Now, if Pirate gives the money back to them, that's his choice. But it's a real donation. It's just being, I guess the word you want to use is inauthentic. It's inauthentic, but it's not a fake donation. They're going through Twitch's systems. It's not like Pirates faking donations on screen. It's like there we go. Are we back? I think my internet went down for a second. Yeah, Pirate Software is taking me down. We're back. We're back. He's micless. All right. I think we're working. I think we're back and we're so back. Like I was saying, I'm not sure how much cut out of that, but like what I was saying, they're real donations. They're just not authentic donations. Like Pirate isn't doing them fakely on the screen. They're really going through Twitch. The Twitch is really getting their cut. And I think that for that reason, Twitch does not care.
Saying I added those 50K bits with 20 seconds left, it sounds like he is artificially, with coordination from Pirate Software, keeping the hype train going, which may look like natural engagement, which may incentivize other people to donate to the hype train because they want to build it up, because there is a potential that they unlock this emote or they unlock other rewards in the progression of leveling up this hype train. I think this might also contribute to the cheat the Twitch reward system, in which case I think maybe you could make that argument, but at the same time, the alternate account that he would have been donating these bits on wouldn't really be cheating that Twitch reward system, since he would be receiving the rewards from it. Again, that's more like incentivizing other people that would naturally donate. They would be more like
it's like the great Pepe caper. Like they're still paying Twitch, thousands of dollars. I don't think they really care. So yeah, I'm struggling to find like the actual. Apart from being cringe, I'm struggling to find any legal problems here. It's just a way to lose money. And like I said, this is what someone has accused Aaron of doing this in the Steel Toe Show guy. Because they said that he sends himself super chats, which means he's just getting a 30% deduction or a 50% deduction on any money he's sending through YouTube. So people say it's like money laundering. That's kind of like weird to say, because unless you're using stolen money from credit cards, it's not money laundering. It's just losing money. And it's even more stupid to do it through YouTube or Twitch, really, because you pay tax on that money as well. So like hypothetically, if Pirate or if Aaron was sending themselves super chats or bits, which is essentially the same thing, they would be paying the Twitch tax and the YouTube tax. And then because that's income, you have to pay regular tax on that as well. So it's like you're just losing like 50% of your money by cycling it through this system. So it does make a lot of sense. Yes, if you join as a member, you unlock the max emoji, the most elusive emoji, the rare golden max Pepe.
To donate if you were getting closer to one of those goals. And they got closer to that goal by artificially inflating the train. Pyrocynical is going to have a heyday
I think
with this
this is
video if he
my-
ever reacts to it. Now, the last
think this
big
is my
TOS thing that I have
opinion
here
of it
is
so
under
far.
prohibited conduct here. Specifically, here under II, it says impersonate any person or entity, or falsely claim an affiliation with any person or entity. Now, technically, Kronos impersonated someone that was friends with Kronos. I think that's a really lame technicality, but at the end of the day, he did pretend to have a friend, which is kind of funny. But more specific,
Yeah, that's funny, but like kind of nothing, so nobody cares.
in the second part of this II here, it says, misrepresent the source, identity, or content of information transmitted via the Twitch services. I would say by using an alternate account and not disclosing that to the public that was viewing the stream would count as misrepresenting the source and identity of the person donating. But all of these potential breaks in the terms of service could mean absolutely nothing. Now, I spoke with the lawyer that had actually worked with Private Parts back when he received a cease and desist from Pirate Software in regard to his video game, including Pirate Software's voice in it. Now, I spoke with him a little bit about
That guy was actually in our stream the other time we talked about Pirate. He seemed like a very cool dude. And Pirate misrepresents the lawsuit entirely because he said that he was suing him to get his voice because it was copyright infringement or something. Then he claims that they changed the voice and they dropped the lawsuit. That's actually not what happened. They dropped the lawsuit and he continues to use the original Pirate voice. So Private Parts just totally destroyed Pirate in this one.
this specific point. He had some really interesting information to provide in regard to the fact that Pirate Software might have a different contract with Twitch that would supersede the terms of service that would typically apply as a blanket for most people that are streaming on Twitch.
There's another layer here.
Yeah, that's true. It's called the fuck you, we do what we want contract, and that applies to Hassan, all his orbiters, and anyone that brings in Twitch a lot of money. It literally doesn't matter what you do. If you're an independent creator with a small channel and you, I don't know, say the wrong thing, you're gone. If you literally threaten to, do some bad things to members of Congress, you'll be A-okay.
Here too, right? Okay. So there's the terms of service that most of us are going to have available to us. But someone like him, he may have a different terms of service that we don't get to see. He may have a separate individual contract. He has a separate written agreement that says literally on it, Twitch terms of service are superseded by our written agreement. Thusly, you may only think you may think, and Twitch may allow you to think, because that seems more fair. It seems like more fair for gamers if the rules are all the same for everybody. But no, they don't have to tell you that. Nobody has to tell you that. So he has, and I would be kind of surprised actually if he didn't have a separate agreement that said those terms of service do not apply except to this extent, or superseded except to this. I mean, if I were him, I would want to have a separate agreement, and his agreement might. It's possible. Who knows? We don't know what his contract is. We can talk theoretically about what Twitch's terms of service, how it would apply if it applies to him, but we honestly don't know. And that kind of thing is not that uncommon in the real business world. Like in when it comes to real business, and you're dealing with real large amounts of money, people have individual there's contracts of adhesion, we call them, are the ones that ordinary users can't change. Right. Ordinary users.
Yeah, this is called the "fuck you, I have money." It's very effective.
There's no opportunity to change. But when you get into like where real money is changing hands, people don't do contracts of adhesion. They're custom. That's why you have lawyers. You negotiate these things. They are negotiated. He may have had it so that this doesn't even apply at all. And it's not like he's expressly allowed to, but it's just like the prohibitions that would normally prohibit this do not apply. And maybe Twitch doesn't even give a fuck.
Sure.
Well, that is true. Twitch does not give a fuck. And yeah, very true and real.
What's their downside? They're still getting paid, right?
Right.
So their only downside would be if it looks real bad.
But now let's specifically tackle legality. Like, US law, is what he did illegal? Based off the information that I have now, it's very, very shaky at best. And I say that because it's the information that I have right now. Now, in a future video here,
I would say it's not. I'm just going to come in and say that I do not think this is illegal at all. It's cringe. It's a waste of money. And it's a very, very silly thing to do. But I don't see where this would be illegal anywhere.
Probably within the next few days, I'm going to be having a full-on conversation and go really in depth about the details of this with the lawyer I was just showing you guys clips from. And I think through that, I'm going to have a much better answer for you. But as of right now, when we're focusing on the legal aspect of this, looking at US law, the first thing that I want to point out is I don't think that this is like money laundering. I think it's kind of scummy that he's using Kronos and him using his alternate account to make these donations to artificially grow the train. But specifically with that last part, not about money laundering, but based off of the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, this could be considered a deceptive business practice or a deceptive act. Act. So I'm pulling this information directly from the Federal Trade Commission Act, Section 5, Unfair or Deceptive Acts or Practices. Now I'm just showing you where this is in the document. I'm going to pull up a screenshot because it's easier to zoom in. We're focusing on this part here, deceptive acts and practices, assessing whether an act or practice is deceptive. Now you may see that there's a little line here indicating that's where my mouse was. No, I did not edit this, and I'll leave a link in the description to this so that you can verify that yourself. I'm going to read this part off here. There must be a representation, omission, or practice that misleads or is likely to mislead the consumer. An act or practice may be found to be deceptive if there is a representation, omission, or practice that misleads or is likely to mislead the consumer. It goes on to say deception is not limited to situations in which a consumer has already been misled. Instead, an act or practice may be found to be deceptive if it is likely to mislead consumers. And then,
now, what would be the misleading here, though? Because people are saying, well, the hype train it's not real, it's not organic. Maybe, but that's not really misleading the customer, in my opinion. And the rewards are very real. Well, not kind of. For the other people that are donating, if you encourage other people to donate by donating yourself, you really unlock the golden Pepe, okay? The infinite Pepe Kappa. That is a, I guess, tangible reward for you. So that's not like you're false advertising at all. It's just manufactured hype. And I mean, companies do this all the time. People literally hire people to stand in crowds, like outside their restaurants, so that people think it's a popular restaurant. That's essentially what this is tantamount to. Just like hiring people to, like, hype up your event or something. At least that's the way I see it. Let me know if you think I'm wrong.
Right down here below, omission of information may be deceptive if disclosure of the omitted information is necessary to prevent a consumer from being misled. Now, you could make the argument that the fact that they are not being transparent about the fact that Kronos is the person who is donating these, as he's using this alternate account, Serendipitous Bean, people don't recognize that this is artificial inflation. The fact that they were referencing that they were a friend with Kronos in real life. Now they're trying.
I wouldn't call it artificial inflation because there's no like product that you're inflating. It's just, like I said, it's just like hiring someone to come stand in your crowd.
Trying to create what looks to be organic growth, it seems like, by not telling people the truth of this. And I would say that if people knew this fact, then it could lead them to make a different decision when it came to donating to Pirate Software for this hype train. Again, that hinges on how people would react knowing that information, and we don't know that. Moreover, I'm not a fucking lawyer. See, I can admit that. And so I don't really know how much you could really get away with it.
Yeah, and this is the biggest thing, I think, Torgo, is that they're really spending money to do this. So it's not like if they were faking donations on screen, that would be a different thing. But that's not what's going on here.
Or if any other letter of the law is going to push against this specific argument when it comes.
All right, let me see this one. Hold on. It is, though. He benefits financially from deceit. But that's like if you hire someone to go, eat McDonald's, and they're like, oh, this burger's so fucking delicious, and they don't care about the burger. Like, most actors don't care about the taste of the burger. Is that financial gain from deceit? The actors don't really go to McDonald's. Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is essentially just paying for advertising. Like, it's just like guerrilla marketing, essentially, in my opinion.
To Twitch and receiving donations on a streaming service. And I'm kind of making this specific point in conjunction just below what we just read. It continues on to say this: the act or practice must be considered from the perspective of the reasonable consumer. In determining whether an act or practice is misleading, the consumer's interpretation of or reaction to the representation, omission, or practice must be reasonable under the circumstances. The test is whether the consumer's expectations or interpretation are reasonable in light of the claims made. And this part specifically is something that I found interesting, but I'm just kind of speculating here. So it says, when representations or marketing practices are targeted to a specific audience, such as the elderly or the financially unsophisticated, the standard is based upon the effects of the act or practice on a reasonable member of that group. So we would ask that question: a member of that group be.
It's fraudulent sales. It's not fraudulent sales, though. They're real sales. They're real sales. It's like I said, to go back to McDonald's, I guess it was I'm very hungry. If I'm a McDonald's manager and I hire 20 guys to go buy 20 burgers with my own money, I'm allowed to do that. It's a waste of money, but they really have the burgers. They really bought the burgers, And then a lot of people will see, like, oh man, they're selling so many burgers. Like I said, it's not a financially viable way to continue doing business either. Like, it's not like it's not like the infinite money glitch. But will it encourage other people to donate? Perhaps. We hit the goal, artificially met. Yes, these are all my alt accounts. What is this? He had to disclaim the hype train was sponsored by one. He had to disclaim the hype train was sponsored by one person. Do you have to do that, though? I think anyone can have the hype train. Like, is it just embarrassing? What is the significance of having the alt account doing it? Like, I mean, it looks better, sure. I'll agree. I'm not going to disagree with you that it looks better to have multiple people giving lots of money rather than one person giving a lot of money. But if a hype train can be ran, like I don't think there's any, no duplicate accounts on Twitch. I'm not seeing the problem as much as I dislike Pirate. I'm just not seeing the issue here.
Being a Twitch viewer who is potentially willing to donate to a streamer, how would the information
All right, hold on a second. If this is true, let me see. Hype trains are loosely triggered. You need more than 3 people to the hype train. This is a little bit different because there were most likely more than 3 people donating for the hype train, but specifically whether it's the hype train or the end of the subathon ending, because it was 20 seconds to go. Does that mean the sub train or does that mean the hype train? Now, if Twitch has this metric that it needs to be 3 people or more, that's just silly, because that's just like taking away your own money. You're disincentivizing people to spend more. Now, if that's a violation of their services, I mean, that's for Twitch to decide, I suppose. But it seems kind of odd
that Kronos was using this alternate account to help inflate the train and keep it moving along. How would that impact a reasonable viewer of that stream? If I saw that a train was getting closer to a certain goal and I saw that it kept moving up, I would be more inclined to donate, seeing that what I think to be natural growth. If I knew that it was artificial, I would be less inclined to donate to it because that feels scummy. But I mainly think that it feels scummy because it's deceptive. If they had come out the gate saying, hey, we're doing this thing, we are donating, we are going to keep the train alive with this certain amount of money because, we want to, I still think that's lame. I think that's really stupid. I think a couple other people might agree with me on that, but I would have a much less averse reaction to it knowing it right out the gate. And I think that kind of comes into play with what we were just reading. But I really do want to...
I mean, I agree with this. It would be scummy. Wouldn't it be the same as the 3-card Monty where technically real money is being traded and dealt to the deal, but the real audience is being misled? No, because in 3-card Monty, that's gambling, right? Like you're expecting to get money back. When you donate to a Twitch streamer, you're not expecting to get any money back. It's different. It's a purchase versus gambling. Correct?
Get down to the nitty-gritty of it. So I will be speaking more to Mario, the lawyer, and figuring out and going more in depth as to what this could actually mean and get his, lawyer perspective on if there is any, potential breach of US law. Now, the last thing that I want to bring up for this video has to do with the potential...
Yeah, this is hype train robbery. They're robbing the train. No, like everybody gets to enjoy the train together.
Defense that I see coming out, because I saw this YouTube short talking about how Pirate at the start of each month will donate a bunch of subs to his community.
Monthly ruse will happen every first of the month from now on. You see, Twitch is paying me a lot of money to run ads. I've accepted this deal, but I hate ads. So how do we fix this? I take half of this money and I turn it into tier 1 subs for you, which is over 200 subs, and then I gift those to the community. So all the people that get those 200 plus subs don't have any ads for the entire month. But since I gifted half of this, 39% of a tier 1 sub comes back to me. And Twitch still pays me a bunch of money on top of that. So I actually make about $1,700, which is more money than I make in a month normally. And also none of you get to watch ads.
Now, my first rebuttal...
Now, that's from before he was very successful. He makes well more than this. This is probably when he was having 400 live viewers or something, for context.
And also none of you get to watch ads.
Now, my first rebuttal to this is the fact that it is 200 tier 1 subs coming from Pirate Software. He's saying that he would be gifting that to his community. So number one, we know that Kronos is the one that is dropping these subs. Okay, well, maybe it is Kronos that's dispersing these. Okay, well, if we go back to this DM communication between the two of them, we're going to see that he says that he donated 100 tier 1s on his personal, but they were talking about focusing on either doing bit donations or tier 3s, since those might be better, bits being 82% return. So we know that the goal of this isn't what's being referenced in the short. It's not to do a bunch of those tier 1 subs at the beginning of the month to help people not watch ads. This clearly is intentionally in reference to keeping the hype train alive, as you see down here with the did 50k bits at 20 seconds left. I just wanted to include that because there was some chat in my Discord about that specifically, and at first when I watched it, thought it was a good point, but then after looking back at the DMs, I'm very hesitant to believe that it had anything to do with the messages that we just went through. But I'm interested to hear what your guys' thoughts are. I know this has been a very long video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoyed going through this investigation, have anything to say, please leave it in the comments below. Consider giving this video a like, subscribing if you're new here, and I'll see you guys.
That's good advice. This guy's really good. I like this video, and he put a lot of work into it. I am noticing a trend. I am noticing a trend of his updates. We have proof. It's over. He has lost. He quit. Insane update. Wild update. There's more. He's done. He's done. It's over. There's more. It's over. Insane update. It's over. There's more. I mean, I do this too. Everybody does this. Everybody does this. But like, this is just so funny the way we read it. If you just read it like this, insane update. He's done. We have proof. It's over. He has lost. He quit. Insane update. Wild update. There's more. He's done. He's done. It's over. There's more. It's over. Insane update. It's over. There's more. All right, that is a little like, I mean, this is very effective thumbnails. You can't blame the man for doing. You can't. Don't hate the player, hate the game, okay? Don't hate the player, hate the game. But there was like, I love the research in this, but I'm not sure about the conclusions. He needs to branch out. It's over. He's done. There's more. All right, guys. I'm going to go to bed. And thank you for watching. I'll play you some tax-free since we had a lot of support today. There'll be more streams this week. And there's a new dinosaur game, which is the Park dinosaur game. We played a little bit of it last time. It was fun. All right, peace, guys. Cheers.
Did you hear me? It is tax-free. My Zammies, my hookers, my super chats too. Hit that button, cause every single super chat, I got it tax-free. Tax-free. Take out your pill bottles, shake your pills, shake your pills, because it's gonna be tax-free. Tax-free, tax-free. Tell your wickers that we got it. Tax-free in my little tin shack. Cats flying in tornadoes. Gun flopping up and down, let's get the guns out. Gun, 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 gun. Shake it around when it's tax-free. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. Wiggle, wiggle. It's a tip, so it's tax-free. But wiggle. You best not fold the bullshit, because these super chats, they all tax-free. Wiggle, 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 wiggle. Yo, Faith, don't make me say it. Squeeze. Child support, Faith, it's tax-free. Compass Sneed, cause it's tax-free. That's right, bitch. Now kiss my Gucci hat, I say kiss it. It's authentic, bitch. It's time to gun out. Shake your gun like you mean it. Squeeze. Welcome to the kill stream. This song. Wiggle, wiggle. What you mean?